Hi everyone, thank you for joining with us for the webinar. I am Devanshu Chanana, Head of Sales in fleetx with more than 7+ years of experience in telematics domain. Today we are going to discuss on the topic how to improve efficiency of freight and logistics operation. So the flow of webinar will be, I'll start with some interesting facts on freight and logistics operation. Then we will ask some questions from our panelists, where we will share some, they can share their experience and views, like how they are managing at their level and how they are able to grow their business year on year, right? So then we'll move to frequent asked questions, with the pair our panelists will address audience questions, right? So let me present a small presentation where we will discuss some interesting facts. I hope my screen is visible to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we are going to discuss on the how to improve efficiency in freight and logistics operations. So we have to understand like what is the need of improving it, right? So how we used to calculate like what is the logistics performance in India. So in globally we all know that there is a logistics performance index, right? So where I'm sure that many of us we have heard of logistics performance index. So in global rating ranking, if we see that in global ranking, the world banks in 2018 ranked us on 44th rank, right? Which actually went down from 34 to 44, right? So it is totally based on the overall logistic performance, which actually calculated on majorly 6 major factors, right? Which we can see that it is timeliness, customs, infrastructure, international shipments, logistics competence, right? So sorry, just give me a second. And yeah, so tracking and tracing, logistics competence. So India is still on 3.18 LPI. Germany is heading on rank number 1 with 4.3 LPI. So here are some factors where we can improve. We can see that customs and infrastructures is the domain sector where we are lacking a lot, right? So we are still on 3 ranking in infrastructure and customs. So we'll discuss how we can improve. We have our expert panelists with us. We'll discuss how we can improve, what are the major blockages, what are the major challenges we are facing right now with that, right? So here are some more interesting facts with that. So 65% of India's freight carried by its roads only. So majorly in India, if we have to move freight from one location to other, we are majorly dependent on the roads, where are all the challenges comes up over the roads, over the how we can actually do a better things into it. So we'll discuss everything in this webinar, right? So the other interesting fact is that 20% of the cargo is containerized. So we can see as e-commerce is emerging in India, right? And so the high value goods as is traveling from on a large sector from a large distance, right? So people are looking over the more containerized cargos, right? So third interesting fact is that $14.7 billion is India's additional fuel consumption due to delays. And these delays can be happened due to multiple reasons. We are going to discuss on this, like how we can improve on the delays, how we can save this cost, because this cost, if we save this cost, that will add up to our profit margins, right? And there is fourth interesting fact with us is that 15% of the total trip expense comprises of unofficial payments. So what are the major factors to that? If we can like can we overcome to that in coming future, or what is the better way to optimize that, right? So the last interesting fact with us is that logistics and supply chain industry accounts 14% of the total India's GDP, which is a huge one, right? and how we can increase it. For sure, we are going to like increase it on year basis. So these are the interesting facts which we are like, we acknowledge it, and we are going to discuss in our webinar how we can improve it. We have expertise people with us who have experience and knowledge over the domain, right? So there is a small effect of mileage which we can see, right? So the small effect of mileage can increase up to 10% margins, right? If the mileage increase from 4.03 to 4.5, so we can easily increase our margins up to 10%. So this is the analysis which was given by the IIM Kolkata, right? So these are some interesting facts we can see. So now what we'll do, we'll come to our panelist. Let me introduce our panelist, right? So let me stop this screen sharing, and yeah. So I would like to welcome our expert panelist with 10 plus years of experience in logistics and transportation, Mr. Jehaan Kotwal, CEO of FJFK Transporters, Mr. Chirag Kataria, General Secretary, All India Motor Transport, Mr. Deepak Thacker, Founding Partner at Gujarat Logistics, and Mr. Gaurav Kumar Jangra, Director at Mahalakshmi Logistics. Hi everyone. Hi Jehaan. Hi Chirag. Hi Gaurav. Hi Deepak. Hi. So let's start with our first question, right? So our first question is with Mr. Jehaan, right? So Jehaan, actually, as we all know that infrastructure has improved from the last couple of years, and the average journey time and the average vehicle speed has improved over the years. The average mileage of the vehicle has almost stayed the same, right? So we've been to some studies and we get to know that average mileage of the vehicle has almost stayed the same. Do you feel that this has been the case with you as well? If yes, what do you think are the reason for this? If not, you can share your case, like how you have handled it differently.
So, Devanshu, thank you, first of all, for the question. And thank you, fleetx, for giving us this opportunity to talk. To answer your question, fundamentally, yes, the roads have improved. The vehicles have improved. We have moved from now BS4 to BS6. Supposedly better mileages, XYZ is put in place. But the reason why it's not getting translated down to, what do you call the so-called the numbers, or at least for the transporter, is because currently a lot of the drivers still control how much diesel is supposedly, to be given to the transporter. So, for example, if they have this notion in their head that let's say a 12 tire, 32 feet will take a mileage of only 3.5. So, regardless of what the mileage of the vehicle is, if the earlier group of drivers believe that it was 3.5, even if the new vehicle is giving better mileage, they'll still stick to 3.5 as their normal way of functioning, right? So their component of salary versus what they make on diesel is, I would say, almost equivalent in our case. So, for example, if we are paying 25K per month as salary, they must be getting not less than 25K in diesel savings. Now, most transporters, from what I understand, are okay with this model because that makes it variable. They don't get the burden of the fixed cost, so to speak. And so they keep the salaries on the lower side, 10,000, 12,000, whatever. And jo diesel mein, I'll keep slipping out in Hindi, but what happens is whatever he earns in diesel becomes a part of this component. And so then his earnings has increased, but it's making it through this diesel piece. So the transporter doesn't realize the value of it unless and until it's a single fleet owner or something like that. The larger fleet owners, typically as they grow bigger, their control over the drivers becomes lesser for obvious reasons. So even if you tell them that here's the GPS and this is what it's showing 4 mileage, now we would want 4 as well, they will not come on to that piece. Very, very rarely. Very, very few companies are able to pull it off. But most companies typically are at the mercy of drivers.
So how we can improve this? Like, if you have come up with some solutions to this?
So what we do, or what we're trying to do now, is that we are showcasing them that, see, this is what the mileage is. Suppose it's 4, for example, and they were offering us 3.5. We are telling them that give us the mileage of 4, and we will pay you that amount in officially as a part of your salary or bhatta, whatever XYZ. So that's kind of how we are trying to negate it. But still, there is this block in their head, which is that this, their fear is, I think it stems from a lot of factors, right? It stems from the fact that transporters typically sometimes, their job security is not there. So tomorrow, if the salary component is too high, they may get neglected and kicked out at the end of the month. Or if something happens, they may get kicked out. This variable component assures them daily income of sorts. Every trip he will make that extra X liters, and that's his savings, and that's what he likes, that stream to come in that short flow. So what we are trying to do is encourage them to give us the correct mileage, and we are ready to pay them for it. I think the other fear on the other side, from what we've done a lot of driver talks and research as well, is they're scared if they start giving this as the mileage, then they come across as liars in the first place.
Okay.
वो झूठा कहलाता है, because he अभी तक तो 3.5, but how did suddenly the mileage go to 4? So they are happy with no, don't touch the mileage. The mileage thing is very sacred in their eyes. It's like, oh, this is like, इसको हाथ नहीं लगाना चाहिए. Everything else आप करो, पगार कम करो, whatever XYZ भत्ता कम करो, but mileage is something that they hold very valuable.
But actually, you guys being on the side where you have the visibility of everything, right? You can assure that these things are going on, and still we are going up with that, right? So yeah, with right now, I guess we might not have the right solution to it, but we will ask the other panelists as well, right? But yes, we have to come up with the solution to it. So Chirag, what is your intake in this?
So hi Devanshu, again, thank you for calling me here, and I'll directly start with the subject only. So what we are doing in the company right now, as we see, as Jehaan told us, from BS4 to BS6, definitely the mileage has increased. But what practice we are doing in our companies, we are passing this whole benefit to the driver. Because again, as our company gives a lot of importance to the driver, and again, we have seen that there's a huge shortage of drivers in the industry. So there are there were before COVID, there were 650 drivers for every 1,000 trucks, and now the number has decreased to almost 450 drivers. And still, the whole business is not recovered completely. So right now, we are passing the whole benefit to the drivers. But what I feel, a lot of things can be changed in the engine also, as we all are seeing in the passenger cars. The government, so the OEM have changed into hybrid, and a lot of technology is being involved in the engine. But this we are not seeing in the commercial vehicles. So we are just seeing the CRD engine, then DTSI, and a very small technical changes. A huge change can be brought in the vehicle engines if hybrid technology can be introduced in the passenger cars. Why not in the commercial? Because I drive one of the hybrid cars, and I could see the benefit of the mileage, जहाँ पे the normal car which used to give of the same brand, जिसका 15 का average था, now hybrid is giving me close to, you can say, 28, 29. So there are the changes which can be done, and right now in SNGT, we are passing the whole benefit to the drivers. We are getting the benefit of the mileage, but those margin are being passed to the drivers. And I would also request other transporters also to continue the same, because right now we all are going through the tough time, and again the deliveries have really increased. And in our company, we used to pay drivers according to the trips and deliveries. So deliveries have reduced, business has decreased. So that's why we thought of passing this whole benefit to the drivers. Before that, the drivers are paid on the trip basis, but now we have decided a specific limit of the average, the kilometers the driver is covering. For example, if my vehicle is giving me average benefit, or like an average of like 4.5, I'm just asking him to give me for 4, and whatever the extra money this is earning. And this is what practice we are doing. And again, see this I think there's a lot of companies also practicing. So this is what we are practicing in the company. And again, if technology change is what we expect from the OEMs. They should really focus on something which really brings the better mileage, because again BS6 was introduced to reduce the pollution, and if you see the pollution has been reduced by 80%. People say कि जो silencer से निकला हुआ हवा BS6 engine का is much better than the Delhi का air. It's breathable, कि दिल्ली का मैं अब सांस नहीं ले सकते. It's so better than. So why not something bring some technology in this in the commercial vehicles? Yeah.
Right. So Chirag, what do you feel that after coming up with this solution, as Jehaan has also commented over it, so drivers are accepting it and they are coming up with the better mileage and they are okay with that. So now
drivers are completely okay. Drivers accepted that, and see, I'll tell. See, every company has a different practices. So Jehaan has a completely different module. So even in the logistics, even the transport industry, we have a lot of variables. So every company has their individual practices, individual module, and individual payment setup for the drivers also. So we also pay them according to delivery wise. Like if you're doing a single delivery, so where we are asking customer for 500 rupees for door collection, we are paying incentives of 50 rupees. So same way, a lot of benefits, it's again the business module. The people who are into FTL, they can't practice what we are doing in the parcel load.
Right.
So yeah, so the challenges are different, module is different, working pattern is different. Yeah, but overall, we all the transporters have definitely received the benefit of close to 10% of BS4 to BS6 transition, and we all are enjoying the benefit. And obviously, we need those benefits. Looking at the rising fuel price, that's the only way to survive.
Right. So I'll come to Mr. Deepak ji. Right. So Deepak ji, how what is your intake in this?
कुछ हद तक जेहान और चिराग से एग्री करता हूं कि हमारी व्हीकल की माइलेज, व्हीकल लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी के आए और माइलेज BS4 से BS6 के व्हीकल का माइलेज बढ़ा है, लेकिन हमारी माइलेज को ड्राइवर्स कंट्रोल करते हैं.
ओके, राइट.
तो हम भी ड्राइवर को अलग अलग तरीके से पक देके जो सेव करता है उसका 50% बेनिफिट हम पास ऑन कर रहे हैं, और उस हिसाब से हम हमारा मतलब अलग अलग ड्राइवर के लिए अलग अलग स्कीम इम्प्लीमेंट किया हुआ है.
So क्या स्कीम इम्प्लीमेंट किया है so that everybody can understand it, right, in a better way, might be some useful insights will get.
हम ड्राइवर हमारी गाड़ी से उसका जो डीजल बचता है, मैं ट्रांसपेरेंट बात करूंगा, वो टंकी में से निकाल के किसी और को बेचते, तो उसकी जगह हम उसको ही 55 रुपीस लीटर के ऐसा केस ऑफर कर देते.
ओके, राइट.
उस हिसाब से
one more thing I want to add. I really agree with Deepak bhai, and again the one more reason why we are doing and we are also ये चीज हम लोग क्यों कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज हमारे काफी सारे ड्राइवर्स बायोफ्यूल यूज कर देते हैं. अगर जो उनको बेनिफिट आप नहीं देते हो तो वो क्या करेगा, हमारा जो 94 रुपीस पर लीटर 94 रुपीस पर लीटर जो डीजल की प्राइस बढ़ चुकी है, उसको वो रिप्लेस कर देगा विद 50-55 रुपीस पर लीटर का बायोफ्यूल, जो हमारी व्हीकल की लाइफ को हैम्पर करता है. और कहीं ना कहीं when we claim for the so most of our vehicles are under AMC, and वो जब हमारा मेंटेनेंस के लिए जब होता है या AMC जब हम लोग उसको व्हीकल में कुछ ब्रेकडाउन हुआ, and that time lot of OEMs do stop that AMC contract for the biofuel, because biofuel होता है तो हमारा वारंटी काफी टाइम बाढ़ हो जाता है, रिजेक्ट हो जाता है.
Right.
So ये सारी रॉन्ग प्रैक्टिसेस ना हो, again that is a major reason, that's why we are offering them this benefit, so that कि कुछ भी wrong practices हमारी कंपनी में ना की जाए.
So are we penalizing also for this, right? Or how? If
yeah,
we
are, like yeah, we do have a penalty module also, जहाँ पे किसी भी तरीके की wrong practices की गई. For example, अगर जो हमें पता चला कि ये ट्रिप के अंदर ड्राइवर ने एवरेज, और जैसे कि हमारे यहाँ पे हमारे खुद के ही मोस्टली फ्यूल पंप्स होते हैं जहाँ पे हमारा टाइप्स होता है,
राइट,
एंड वो एवरेज आउट करने के बाद हमें कहीं से नॉर्मली वी आर नॉट एबल टू ट्रैक इट, बट हमारी गाड़ी जब मेंटेनेंस के लिए जाती है, सर्विसिंग के लिए जाती है, दैट टाइम हमें कुछ अगर जो पता चलता है, जो भी वहां पे उसमें जितना भी पाया गया लीटर के अंदर, फॉर एग्जांपल आफ्टर 100 लीटर्स 20 लीटर्स वो बायोफ्यूल, तो वो जो भी अमाउंट होगा उसका 10 टाइम्स विल बी द पेनल्टी फॉर देम. दिस इज व्हाट वी आर डूइंग इन आवर कंपनी. सो हर एक रॉन्ग प्रैक्टिस के लिए वी आर पेनलाइजिंग 10 टाइम्स.
Right. So Gaurav ji, I wanted to understand from your point of view as well. So do you have the similar thoughts, or yeah, like you are doing something differently? Mr. Gaurav, I'm audible.
So I do agree with all of you. सेम हर जगह ऐसे ही है कि आपका माइलेज ड्राइवर ही कंट्रोल करता है. आप कहते हैं उनसे कुछ मोटिवेशन देके ही उनसे वापसी माइलेज कहते हैं के बदले जो इतना फ्यूल इंक्रीज हो रहा है कि इट वाज अबाउट 65 एंड नाउ इट्स 95. सो रेट से इतना कहते हैं रिकवरी कहाँ से होगा, कहते हैं ड्राइवर से ही कुछ लालच देके वापसी लेना पड़ेगा.
Right. So I can see that this is more or less the similar challenges is coming up with everybody, and everybody is handling in the similar way, right? So yes, we are. I can see that penalty can be different, but yes, more or less the concept of handling the situation is more or less a similar, right? So let's move to our another question, and the other question is, yeah, it is related to fuel only, right? So because we know that fuel has increased, and it is, I'm sure that this is the hot news which comes, we can see over the news channels, we can see over the social media, we can see everywhere, right? So the constant increasing fuel costs have impacted the economy. We are already aware of it. So how has it impacted your business, right? So I wanted to understand from Jehaan, right? So Jehaan, you can tell me in a detail, or brief me, like, because we used to understand, we used to listen a lot, like that fuel has increased, economy has affected from that. So how actually it impacted to your business? It is good, it is bad, or how you are understanding, or how what is your understanding into this?
It's very good. I do think it should go up to 100, 200 also. Very, very good for us.
So yeah,
but there's no question about it that it's horrifying. We are all going through a nightmare, especially FTL players, because a lot of our fuel is a big component of our cost.
right.
Depending on the kind of category, it ranges anywhere between 40 to 55% of your freight.
Right.
Now, I think to answer your question, how is that how it has been for the transport industry? The small players have collapsed, and they just can't survive. The large ones, typically, if they're lucky and they've got good customers that are moving essentials, etc., they may be able to kind of just breathe and survive. E-commerce companies, the ones who are tied up with them, they're anyways doing well. So those kinds are still relatively better off. So again, it depends, like Chirag was saying, it depends on the industry, depends on your sector.
Right.
But fundamentally, for any transporter, and the challenge you see is not only the freight price increasing. What's happening is it's increasing in a very minuscule, very strategic way. And
Right.
for us to go to our customers and say, hey, now it's 885, can you please give us revisions? You typically, every customer, unfortunately in India, is never going to be like so gracious enough. He also wants to reduce his cost. So he's going to say, no, I'll think about it. Other transporters are not asking. Why are you asking? Trucks are standing. We give you hundreds of other excuses and keep you paralyzed in that same state of affairs. For us, JFK's perspective, we've been, very strategic in that sense. We work with companies who at least give us some portion of, diesel increase. But the big challenges is when you're doing FTL, you have two-way loads, right? So one side you may load your customers, the other side you have to depend on the market.
Right.
Now the market hasn't changed. The market is still the same because market demands are supply and demand oriented. So if diesel price can be 200 also, but if there is no vehicles on one side, the freight will be zero or close to like hardly 40%, 30% of what it should be. So I think fundamentally one is that we've been beaten badly. Like there's no question about it. If anybody says they're doing well, I will go and work with them. And very, very few, like I said, it's extremely niche, and that's also not strategic. It's just that they're lucky because they're at the right time at the right place, like what Zomato or Paytm was happened.
Right.
I think what you call for the entire industry, and I think our associations are trying very hard as well to make sure that something is done, at least if not from the diesel increase side, from the freight side, etc. So uh, we have just, after a point you become numb to it. There's, what can you do? You're in a situation, you can't write or talk about it. If you do, you'll get different kinds of backlashes. You try to fight, there's not much you can do. In the current pandemic, if you go to try and do a strike as well, essentials getting stopped, and COVID, that was one of the biggest reasons why I think the association weren't able to do a strike, because we were needed. We had to supply medical, we had to supply oxygen. That time you can't say that diesel freight is so high. That time you look like a prick to say that. So it's unfortunate that, one is, of course, we are probably one of the most important parts of today's industry as far as supplies is concerned, because we are the ones who are driving the economy ahead. Nothing else is moving. The entire government, taxes, everything is relying on fuel, and we are the number one promoters or people who are giving that fuel income. That being said, still there is hardly any consideration. I highly doubt any of the ministries or anything is being done in that direction. And even if it is, there's a lot of effort, but there's no result. And so we're all in a weird kind of fix. So I think fundamentally, I think Chirag will be able to, of course, answer, because I know he works like night and day to make this possible. And but I personally, I feel bad. Not only, see what will happen to the big players, they will take more debt because they have stronger balance sheets, right? What for us to get free in 5 years will take 8 years, 6 years, 7 years, whatever. The smaller players, the ones who can't, they will get washed off out of the system. And so it's good in the long run for somebody, for professional larger fleet owners, and even the ones that are large fleet owners but who already have over leveraged debt, they also will shut down. And then we hear of that every week. We speak to transporters who are either downsizing or are shutting down their businesses. They just can't survive. So that's just the overall piece. But all jokes aside, it's quite bad.
So Chirag, we wanted to understand from your point of view. I can see over your social media platform as well, right? You are in touch with a lot of people looking over the solution, coming up with the benefits. Like, so you can share your experience, like how you are managing or how you are coming up with solutions to that.
Yeah, so right now we have also written letters to the CM, then PM, and from CM we are asking for the tax benefits. So last year, again, this was initiated by us, and we got a relief of close to 700 crores from the Maharashtra state. The commercial tax waiver was given to us. And again, we had a meeting last week with our former Home Minister Satej Patil ji regarding the moratorium and again the tax waiver. But this time we really doubt it will happen because our state government also doesn't have any money and they are not getting any support from the central. And the fight is still on for the diesel price, and we are writing letters. We have met so many the people connected to this fuel price, and we have also requested them to at least come down with the at least few rupees, because right now the whole industry has not accepted the fuel rise. Even our clients are not giving us the raise. Looking at the pandemic, जो हालत हमारी हो चुकी है किसी भी हाल से, our customers also suffering, even they are into the bad shape right now. So वो लोग accept नहीं कर रहे हैं हमारा raise, किसी भी freight का raise. And same way अगर जो our freights are not getting accepted by the customers, and again we have to work on the old freights. So it's very difficult because we transporter work for a margin of 3 to 4%. We have very wafer thin margin, and uske upar we have a burden of EMI, staff salary, and a lot of things in our business are not recovered completely. We are still working on 50 to 60%. So अगर जो ये हालत में हमारे पास already इतना burden है, we have to take care of so many people, and again our drivers are the one who are risking their life, and they are more like a frontline warrior. And so we just want government to understand this, what pain we are going through, and at least not burden us with the more pain. We're not expecting anything different or something more. We are asking them, we're just asking them not to increase the fuel price. But somewhere government has not accepted our request, and they are burdening everything on the transporters. And for them, transporters are more like, I don't know, they feel that transporters are a criminal. So we are just getting punished for what we are doing and for our efforts. Yeah, but the fight is still on. And yesterday also we celebrated a Black Day, and where all the transporters in the country, they put up the black flag, and this fight was against the fuel price and the GST and e-way bill compliances, which are burden on the transporters, because we are again not the one who is selling or purchasing the goods. We are just a service provider, but we are being involved in the e-way bills also. And there are a lot of challenges which are really killing small transporters. And again, one more information to share you. Today in our country, 80% are the small fleet owners. The people who own less than 5 trucks have a 80% share in the industry. And there are again, out of this 80%, 60% are more like a chalak malak. He himself is a owner and himself is a driver of the truck. And this guy is very hand to mouth. He hardly makes what, like 25,000-30,000 rupees, after paying his EMI. It was before COVID, and now in COVID he hardly makes 10 to 15,000 rupees after paying his EMI. And again, with this fuel cost, diesel price, and a lot of these people do work for MNCs and all, and they have not accepted the freight raisal. So now when this MNCs are not accepting the freight increment, यहाँ पे ये बंदा बेचारा 4 से 5% मार्जिन पे काम कर रहा है, where he is saving after doing so much of work, and he's saving only 15 to 20,000. अब ये fuel price इतना बढ़ गया, so this guy is doing into the losses. He's not able to take money home. But again, he has to run the show because he has to pay EMI. अगर जो गाड़ी खड़ी कर देगा तो उसको 35,000 40,000 का बर्डन लग जाएगा. तो यहाँ पे तो उसको 5,000 का नुकसान हो रहा है. जहाँ पे 15,000 बच रहा था, वो तो बच नहीं रहा है. But additional 5,000 is going out of his pocket because of the fuel raisal. So yeah, we are fighting, and let's hope, and we would also request through your platform that all the people and all the people who are using transport services, and please do understand and please support us for the fight against the exceptional fuel rise.
Right. So I can understand, like Jehaan also mentioned, there is a dynamic in prices. So we can see prices are increasing on weekly basis, daily basis, right, or a monthly basis, right. So we cannot go to the customers and telling them again and again, again it has increased or again it has decreased. So we cannot do that level of amendment in our freight cost, right? So that is also one challenge. It has to be at least fixed for some couple of months so that we can discuss on the quarter basis. We can with our customers. So I guess this is also a gap which I can see, right? So
100% Devanshu. One more thing I want to add. I'll share my personal experience with my customer only. So right now we are seeing that diesel is every day it's increasing by few paise or few rupees.
Right.
So last month only we had asked for the raisal in the freight. Diesel ka price बढ़ गया. We want a 5% appraise in the freight charges, and customer agreed with 2%. Okay.
Right.
And again after a week it was increased. So again we applied for that. उन्होंने वो भी cancel कर दिया. बोला आप तो जब देखो आप खड़े रह जाते हो भाड़ा बढ़ाने के लिए. हमारे पास दूसरे भी ट्रांसपोर्टर है. We don't want to work with you. We don't want transporter who keeps increasing his freight, because that is affecting our costing, because हमारा जो orders लिया जाता है, and what happened, a lot of time consignee is paying the freight, and वो उसका costing के अंदर वो already वो होता है, calculated होता है, yes, added किया होता है. So उनका pricing change हो जाता है, so they don't accept the freight increment, and that's what we have requested government also. Do up fuel price बढ़ाइए पर quarterly बढ़ाइए, and keep one fuel for one one fuel price for one nation. जैसे आपका one nation one tax है, why not keep one fuel price for all the states? Why there's a difference in lot of महाराष्ट्र का fuel price अलग है, गुजरात का अलग है, दिल्ली का अलग है. So ये भी हमारे लिए काफी बड़ा challenge है कि the operators who are operating from Daman do have a benefit, and they can उनका जो freight होता है वो हमसे at least 10 to 15% down होता है. So we don't get the business because we are not from the Daman, but Daman people are getting the business and they take over the कर लेते हैं.
Right.
So that's what we are requesting government also कि one nation one fuel price भी किया जाए. So let's hope कि ये सारी चीजें government हमारा pain समझे and सबको equality से treat किया जाए, and at least transporters को थोड़ा सा तो value मिलना चाहिए.
Right. And actually in fleetx also we have come up with a feature where you can select the location and you can see the live fuel prices over there, right? So it can help you to plan your trip accordingly. for example, like you have rightly mentioned that if you are taking a business from some other state, so that state transporter can give a better prices, right? So in that terms, we can see from the dashboard what is the price we have in that particular location, so that we can plan our fueling accordingly and we can give a prices accordingly. Because yes,
So
in a competition market, in a competitive market, we have to come up with the solutions. Yes, there are challenges, there is a problem, but yes, we always have to look over a positive thought to it. We have to come up with the solutions. It can be a technology basis, or it can be a approach to the right people, coming up with the right benefits. It can be for time period, or it can be for longer period as well, right? So I wanted to understand, right, Deepak ji, you are in like how you are managing this.
हमारे 80% कस्टमर से हम फ्यूल का क्वार्टरली रेट इंक्रीज करते हैं,
Okay.
उनकी वजह से टायर, स्पेयर पार्ट और अदर बहुत सारी चीजें में जो कैस्केडिंग इफेक्ट आता है वो हम पूरा रिकवर नहीं कर पा रहे कस्टमर.
But your customer are accepting it as that is a norm, it is a challenge with
We are
everybody.
increasing our rate 3 or 4 times in a year.
Okay.
To diesel price.
And still you are able to get the business from the customers, right?
Yeah.
Right. So this is a positive thing, Jehaan, which Deepak ji has told us, right? So he is still getting the business, right? And
he's a part of a very, very niche group of transporters, very strong. So that their lobby is strong. Unfortunately, we don't have those kind of strong lobbies. Everyone cuts each other. But I believe in Mundra, they've got it fixed very well. They've got a few set of strong transporters that all stick together and fight on this common cause. So that's something we should learn from.
Yeah, we should learn it from them, right? I guess everybody can implement, because maybe this can help us. It can solve it the other way, right? From the actually from the customer.
Deepak bhai is always a trendsetter for us. He's a trendsetter.
हम partially recover कर पा रहे हैं, पूरा नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, लेकिन partial 70-80% हमारे freight से मतलब next revision में recover हो जाता है, तब तक हमारा loss making होता
है. Right. So Gaurav ji, I wanted to understand from your point of view how it is with your case.
So in our case, we are mostly working with automobile sector customers. So in 60-70% cases, they have a clause of monthly increase or decrease of fuel related impact. But if we say in last 4-5 years, toll has also increased, number of tolls has increased, and toll prices have also increased. तो उसके लिए भी कहते होना चाहिए. If we say कहते हैं as a fleet owner, if we go to any customer having only FTA requirement, then our margins has decreased very much. But as we are offering,
percentage of margins has decreased in this time.
तो मार्जिन डिक्रीज हो गए हैं कि आपके फ्यूल प्राइसेस इंक्रीज हुए हैं, वो चलो कुछ कस्टमर्स दे रहे हैं, लेकिन उसके अलावा जो और इम्पैक्ट है वो डे बाय डे मार्जिन डिक्रीज होते जा रहे हैं. सो फॉर दैट देयर शुड बी सम मैकेनिज्म रिलेटेड टू टोल आल्सो, क्योंकि टोल का भी कहते हैं आज के समय में देखें आपका 4 से 6 रुपए पर किलोमीटर की कॉस्ट आ रही है, कहते हैं आपके 10-12 व्हीलर्स की कहते हैं 1400-1500 किलोमीटर ऑफ रनिंग में देखें, जो कि कहते हैं आपके महाराष्ट्र में तो सारे लगभग पुराने टोल हैं, लेकिन एमपी हरियाणा इधर कहते काफी नए टोल्स लगे हैं. तो उनकी
will come to that factor as well, right? So how the other factors which are affecting over our trip expenses, right? Because I'm sure that if we accept fuel, there are other factors as well, like you rightly mentioned, tolls and other factors which we consider, right? So let's move to our another set of questions, right? So it is related to the situation we are facing right now. So my another question is with Jehaan, right? Jehaan, we in COVID-19 situation, we have seen a huge surge in e-commerce platforms, right? So how do you feel that e-commerce platform impacted the Indian logistics market?
So the e-com platforms, typically most of them, the ones at least the startup companies that are associated with them, I believe were on a very strong money burn model anyway. So for them, very different, strategy and structure. But typically, a lot of the movements you see, even if you look at the two biggest guys, Amazon and Flipkart, if you may have any number of vehicles with them, but it doesn't mean that the freight increase is going to be passed on. They will just add, they have their benchmark pricing and this is it. You take it or leave it. It's like, it's a standard thing. And typically what I think has been transformed to a very large degree since e-com has come in is you've had a much more service oriented, in FTL at least, service oriented based on time. So, you have to reach Bombay to Delhi or Bombay to Chennai in X number of hours.
Right.
And then that time efficiency has improved tremendously, which transporters didn't take it very seriously because they wouldn't get paid for it so much unless they were in the express sector. But now, because of the Amazon and Flipkarts wanting that time-bound deliveries in and with the technologies to back it up to make sure that yes, this can be delivered efficiently. Fundamentally, you see, in FTL it doesn't make so much of a difference because a few number or maybe a 5% increase of the vehicle quantum. Let's say if the demand did go bigger, it's actually the last mile and the first mile movements that had a good surge in the number because the quantities are smaller. So, automatically the number of vehicles needed are larger. So
Right.
typically, I think the last mile and the first mile got a lot of boost. The long haul FTL sector, not so much significantly, but it had its own perks. But what you need to understand is, Devanshu, is that because everything else shut down, this was the only thing. So everybody kind of said, "Chalo, ye karte hai." But you had out of, suppose if you had to say 100% vehicles, may say 80% is shut down. E-com could not cover 80%. E-com will cover maybe 20% max. Still the country is running on other brick and mortar institutions, right? So the overall scheme of things, even something like the vaccination thing, right? People said cold chain mein ghusna chahiye because vaccination mein is going to boom. This and the other, but one truck vaccine can supply, lakhs of doses. So if you like 10 or 15 trucks can supply whole of Bombay. So you don't need that many trucks. In the same way, e-commerce also kind of similar in that context that there was already an excess amount of vehicles that were standing lying. Those guys got migrated. And unfortunately or fortunately, we are competing, at least the FTL guys typically are competing with some startups that for them currently growth is the idea. Their focus is all around how to scale. It's not on how much profit they are making. So hence, you can't take advantage of that. No one can. So I think that was a big thing as well.
Yes,
so e-commerce very
we
linked
have
with
to agree
the
on
startup.
that with the COVID situation, people are more looking over the online platforms, right? Even with us, right? So we are looking over our platforms where we can order things from online and we don't have to go to the market. So I'm sure there is some impact which happened to the
huge,
right?
Huge. It's probably, I don't know, I don't have the data with me, so which is why I'm not making any comment on the figures. But last mile and first mile has phenomenally grown. But what you need to, like I said, it grew. Let's say, for example, if it grew by even 100%, right? The other industries had collapsed. So it wasn't that the transporters made money in e-commerce because their other business verticals were all zero. So they, at max, they could divert the vehicles if they had the vehicles. That's another thing. Everybody doesn't have e-com kind of single axle 32 feet vehicles. We, for example, wanted to pivot in e-commerce, but I have 12 tire 21 24 ton vehicles, and those you can't put in e-commerce. The segment doesn't match. So you need to have that sector, that type, and then get an e-com company type of customer. So I highly doubt how many transporters have taken advantage of it. I don't know if Chirag or Deepak Bhai or Gaurav ji has taken advantage of it, but we haven't been able to.
So right. So let's come to Chirag, right? So Chirag.
So Dipanshu. So what I believe, and this is like very famous saying, आप किसी को हरा ना सको तो उसके साथ मिलके दुनिया को हराओ. And this is what we implement in our business also. And as we are into parcel and part load services, we have a lot of local deliveries. So again, we have a small startup company which is called 3x Cargo Cab. So how I took the benefit of this e-commerce people. So normally we charge 2,500 rupees from Bhiwandi to South Bombay or the deliveries in the Bombay, Mumbai local deliveries. And we started hiring a tempo from XYZ, again e-commerce company, for 900 rupees. So this is how I took the benefit of this e-commerce people. And what I see is every challenge comes with the opportunity. You just have to identify that spot. And as I told you, what freight we are asking for from the customers for small tempo from Mumbai to Nashik is 6,000 rupees, and where e-commerce people are delivering it for 4,500 rupees. So instead of sending my vehicle, I am passing my business to them. So now I have become an agent where I am making a margin of close to 1,500 rupees, and I don't have to do anything. Customer is paying me upfront. I have an account with e-commerce company. I have to pay them after almost like 30 days or 15 days, whatever contract we are on. So this is what we are doing. And along with this e-commerce company, we have started like a lot of services, which which I can benefit and I can pass on to the e-commerce people, and I can set up a margin for myself without any cost, because here I just have to pass on the business, the ability, the way will be mine. So वैसा काफी सारी चीजें हैं. So we can take benefit. And again, this e-commerce people are temporary. Today there is XYZ company. 5 years ago there was XYZ company, and they have a big cash. So they have a lot of money to cash burn, and so we can't compete them, because 5,000 crore रुपए लेके आते हैं और उनको disrupt create करना है. Instead of competing them, I would suggest जितने भी transport ऐसे के उनके साथ मिलके काम करो, collaborate with them. Because as I told you, again I want to share one more experience जहाँ पे मैंने मेरा एक छोटा टेम्पो I've done a tie up with some XYZ. Again, I don't want to name the company. वहाँ पे मैंने मेरा टेम्पो वहाँ पे लगा दिया for fix for the business. And again I booked my tempo only. मेरा टेम्पो मैंने वहाँ पे ऐप पे डाला कि I want a business, and I booked my tempo only, and इसके अंदर they gave me 500 rupees for my own vehicle.
Right.
So that's what there is a lot of opportunity, and काफी सारे उनके यहाँ पे blind spots है जहाँ पे we can hit and make money. But you have to get into the details कि यहाँ पे अगर जो what मेरे लिए क्या benefit हो रहा है, and I'm very much sure a lot of transporters can benefit, because I have few fellow friends also, सबने वही किया. 20-30 ट्रक्स अपने लगा दिए वहाँ पे पोर्टल पे एग्रीगेटर के पास में, और उन्होंने खुद का ही ट्रक बुक करना स्टार्ट कर दिया, and where they were making 1,000 rupees. in a couple of hours उनको 1,000 rupees incentives मिल रहा था खुद की ही ट्रक का. So ऐसी काफी सारी चीजें हैं जो हम लोग उनके प्लेटफॉर्म के थ्रू कर सकते हैं, and we can take out the benefit, because these people are temporary. आप कितने भी बड़ी कंपनी देखिए, maybe whatever the valuation is 5,000 crores, 15,000 crores, after 5 to 7 years they become cashless. उनके पास पैसे खत्म हो जाते हैं, and they start falling down. And I know there were a lot of giant players also. किसने relay model किया, किसने XYZ model किया, and what about them now? Now the fleets are standing. So we don't have to stress about that, because see, we are so for our brand, our customers, I know, because what we have delivered is trust. हमने सिर्फ parcel delivery नहीं किया हमारे customers का. So we have built that relation with our customers. So I know, okay, my customers are not going anywhere. Even if somebody is offering them half freight, still they won't loosen up on me. They'll always be with me and my support. So I would
I wanted to understand how the e-commerce industry is giving a business, right? So they are giving you a commitment, or they are only looking over the only they are in touch with over the search, right? Because we have seen that I used to be in touch with some e-commerce companies, right? So because yes, they come up with the they can also be a prospect for us, right? So
yes,
I have seen with them that they feel a good surge in the festival duration, right?
Yeah, there is.
So how we able to meet their requirement, because you are dealing with the e-commerce company, I guess you can tell us in a better way.
Yeah. So first thing, this all e-commerce people, they are just working on the databases. All they want is data. So if you have 50 trucks, 100 trucks, they would promise you all the business to all your trucks.
Right.
First thing is there, and then when you're entering into the business with them, and whatever, see, during the festival there is a surge, but we don't get the benefit of that surge. Yeah, but in normal deliveries we do make a benefit out of them. And again, it's optional. I don't have to give my vehicle to them only when I don't have any business for my truck. That time only we approach and we keep it on for the business. And sometimes, so what we do is when I have a business of Ahmedabad. So what I will do is I'll put up my truck on the platform, and I'll rebook my truck only. So for example, I'll put my vehicle for the freight of 19,000 rupees, and then from the portal, and I'll book my own vehicle for 18,000 rupees. So the portal is going to pay me 90,000 rupees, and I have to pay him 80,000 rupees. So we have to separate names. So this is how we are doing, and we are doing almost like daily we do around 10 to 15 trucks. So easily I'm making like 10-15,000 rupees from that platform only.
Right.
Yeah.
As you rightly mentioned that they are more focusing over the visibility, transparency, right? So how you are managing that? Like, because I can see that they are looking over the data, right?
All they care about is data and how many trucks you have. They half of these people don't even know the actual freight, where they are paying me 18,000 rupees. They are paying 90,000 rupees for the Ahmedabad. And the actual freight, there are trucks which we book for less than 13,000 rupees. So see, it's all about how we are you have to pitch to the right point. You have to hit to the right,
So I would like to address our audience that Chirag has given a very good insights, right? So how to earn from e-commerce, right? So
मैंने बोला ना कि एक कहावत है हिंदी में, आप जिसे हरा नहीं सकते उसके साथ मिलकर दुनिया को हराओ.
Right. So we got a good business gyan from you, right, Chirag? So how to get some good extra chunks from there, right? And yes, with fleetx also we have come up with vendor management system, right? So where the companies like you can take a benefit of it, right? So
now we all know where to take benefit from.
Right. So right. So we'll move to our another question, right? So this is related to, like we initially mentioned, like Chirag, I'll ask you only this question, right? So like you rightly mentioned that about the hybrid vehicles, about the other technology which is coming into the passenger vehicles, right? So we can see that EV is coming pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
So do you feel that you will adopt the EV infra in the coming time? What challenges do you feel you have to face with the EV commercial vehicles become if we say that in coming time EV commercials become the norm?
Definitely, if it becomes a norm, we don't have any option.
Right.
As a BS6 was not an option for us. So
what are the challenges which you like?
Yeah, so challenges what we would face is, first, I don't think our country is fit enough and we don't have that good infra for the EV technology. Right now, also passenger cars, like a lot of companies like Tata has EV cars, Mahindra has EV cars, then MG has EV cars. But what I have seen in these electronic vehicles is this vehicle take at least 40 to 50 minutes to charge, and out of that 40 minutes charging, they do run for 200 to 300 kilometers. And for the commercial vehicle, for a truck of 9-tonner truck, or you can say of 16-tonner truck, I'm very sure it would require at least 3 to 4 hours ka charging for 200 kilometers, because truck is like 10 times, it's going to occupy 10 times more, the voltage, the load and everything, because the passenger car is hardly 2 tons. And then this truck is close to like 18 tons, 19 tons, so 9 times more. So when we are comparing, the charging time would be 9 times more, or you can expect it will drive only 50 kilometers for 50 minutes charging. So 1 minute for 1 kilometer. So if I want to send my vehicle to Ahmedabad for it's close to 600 kilometers. So do I have to charge for 600 minutes? That is close to 10 hours. So I can't afford, I can't afford my vehicle to stand at a charging point for 10 hours and then drive 600 kilometers, which will really decrease my turnaround time. For example, I'm doing 10 deliveries in a month, I'll be able to do only 5 deliveries. Though I'm saving a fuel cost, definitely, but even this is coming with the cost. And fuel is not a big challenge, but turnaround time is the biggest challenge, because this is where we are making money. Cost is going to be there, but if it's becoming the half, then definitely I won't go for EV. Though I don't have an option, then we would want a better technology which can fast charge the batteries, and then maybe we'll be able to adopt. And do we have enough charging stations? Because right now in Mumbai, we hardly have 5 charging stations. being a city of 2 crore population, we still have like close to 5 charging stations, and even those charging stations have 5, 5, 6 points. So I don't think it will be able to cater the Mumbai itself. So looking at the outskirts, we don't have such good infra. So government has vision that is very good. We need to we need to fight against the global warming and the pollution, whatever is happening in the. It's a global subject, not only of the country or the state. But I don't think our country or our state has enough infra to adapt this EV technology, because still we are not able to accept the methane gas technology also, which is made of the bio waste. That is also only running in the Nagpur city. So government has good vision, good plans, but we don't have infra, and I don't see any investment of government in those electronic vehicle technology in the infra. So I really doubt that it will be possible for us in next 10 years. Maybe if the government changes its mission or vision, and then it might work. And again, the cost. Sorry to interrupt. Again, the cost of the vehicles. So for whatever the sedan vehicle I'm getting for 9 to 10 lakh rupees, same electronic vehicle is costing me double. So again, the price is a big factor, because even that comes in the cost. So if the price is double, turnaround time is half. So we would just the whole business will come to 25%, and the cost will increase by 75%. So our customers are ready to give that margin to us. Looking at the fuel price, toll price, then vehicle cost and turnaround time, this will really kill us. And I don't think any transporter or the government is not ready to increase the logistics cost, because this would also give boom to the logistics cost, and it will increase at least by 50%. So I really doubt this is very possible for our country, but let's see.
But if you talk about the local deliveries, right, the N miles, or we can say, so might be, I guess we can start from there, and we can then look over the larger distance deliveries, right? So what is your intake in that?
Yeah, it is very much possible in the local deliveries, but again, see, the local delivery, most of the local deliveries, like through small tempos, are happening only inside the cities or close to MIDCs. They are like the local tempos are not someone who's actually carrying the loads. They are more into 50-60% local deliveries. So this is very much possible. So I think a lot of Amazon also have this local electronic vehicles for the delivery, and a lot of startup companies have adapted their technology. But it's a very small percentage, you can say. Local delivery is not a big challenge for us. So this won't affect much into the the pollution. It's not going to play a big role in the pollution control. So, but definitely, this means small vehicle and very B2C delivery. It's very much possible.
So we'll come to Jehaan. Jehaan, what is your intake in that?
So I actually quite disagree with Chirag. I'm very closely associated with electric trucks, and I'm very passionate about the subject. The beauty of India is that we are a very, value for money concept country.
Right.
Okay. Just Chirag, for your information, what do you call? I'm working on a technology with a company which can charge the truck in half an hour to 4 hours max, depending on the battery that you put. Number one.
But how many kilometers can it drive? In 4 hours?
400.
For commercial vehicle?
Commercial vehicle, 25 tonner. I'm working on it, so I'm telling. Okay. What do you call? The other thing that I'm also seeing is the moment this happens, and we are going to first try it out with cement application. We're going to try it out with the port application. We're going to try it out with your short distance mining application. And you're right, as far as the infrastructure is not there. But the good thing is now, NTPC, Tata Power, they all are ready to come in with the infrastructure as well. If you tell them, suppose now I have 100 vehicles, I tell them I'm going to do, put 50 vehicles in JNPT. So put 5 chargers here. They will put it free. You will be charged per kilowatt. You have to buy it from them at an X price. Now this cost, let me tell you all, is that somewhere around 7 to 8 rupees per kilowatt, which will be about, if you ask them to install it and them to put it in, then they will obviously charge probably 12, 14, 15 rupees, whatever per kilowatt. But that's still cheaper than paying 45 rupees per kilometer, as far as our diesel 2K mileage we pakde to, what do you call cost? The challenge actually is not so much on, the infrastructure. It is there for long distance. I'm talking about short distance now. It's not so much for short distance. The challenge is that the battery cost today is very, very expensive. So the ROI that I'm looking at least, and we're planning on going electric in the next 2 to 3 years time, is somewhere around 5 years, given the current diesel cost. So the price of the battery only is 45-50 lakhs. Then the kit is around 20-25 lakhs. So the investment cost is very high. So
Right.
I do feel that yes, and then as it gets more and more popular, I think Mahindra has come out with an interesting vehicle as well, some trio model. There are all these startups which will all come with electric. In last mile, I don't think electric, it will be successful, but it's not going to make so much of a cost difference, because last mile, your cost per kilometer in fuel itself is very less, hardly 300-400 rupees a day. So usme electric karne jaoge to you need to infrastructure, so that cost saving is not much. Where the cost saving we'll see, and this will dramatically change. I predict 5 years, we're going to see an absolute change in this segment. And we are working on a retrofit model. So what we're doing with one of our partner companies is that taking an existing 10-year-old vehicle, which is anyways as good as scrap, removing everything, putting a powertrain, putting a battery kit, with 7 years warranty from China, putting the kit warranty is about 5 years, investing this, and then letting it run on electric. And I think that probably business model is far more efficient, cleaner energy, all of that put together. The only challenge is your investment cost is very high. And where I agree with Chirag is that the long distance it will be an initial challenge, but the moment you see companies will in India, you look at anybody, right? The moment you reduce your price by 5%, when there was a big transporter who did a massive fraud in our industry, some SVLL person, he came across with some 2,000, 5,000 trucks, went around reducing the freight cost by 10% in every company. Everybody went and gave him business. In the same way, the moment e-commerce company does the same thing, no e-commerce company, and I'm talking about the logistics ones, they basically lower the price point and everybody gives you business. So in the electric segment also, the moment your cost per kilometer comes down, whether you look at Tesla's truck as well, or you look at the Indian trucks that will come, the moment somebody proves, whether Tata or Leyland or anybody for that matter comes in and says, okay, our cost per kilometer from, let's say, 45 rupees a kilometer for fuel now has reached 30 rupees. Everybody will come and shift. It is just a matter of time.
This can also be one of the solutions which we were discussing in the earlier challenges. With
for sure. This will change. Then they will have to pay actual pagar of 50,000 to the drivers.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Sure. So as you told me, you're working on a technology, right? And you told me that 40 minutes, the vehicle is going to run like 400 kilometers.
Not 40 minutes. Then between half an hour to 4 hours.
Yeah, but how can you define half an hour to 4 hours? Like, 8 times the timing you're like, is it like it has to be 40 minutes, 1 hour or 4 hours? For like every 100 kilometers, how much time, the battery is going to take?
So it depends on the battery. There are 3 types of batteries. If you buy the cheaper version battery, you can charge it in 4 hours. Buy the expensive version battery, you can charge it in half an hour.
Okay,
and then the cost of that is also higher.
But I think you're mistaken, because half an hour may 44 hours, even the MG is not, I think there's some mistaken, because half an hour may 4 hours is not possible for the truck, because still Tata, Mahindra, and they also don't have the technology. But maybe you're working on it, and it can be, everything is possible in this world. So again, I have one more question. For example, you told me, so in Maharashtra, there are 25 lakh trucks, 2525. So for example, if you're calculating 2 hours for 400 kilometers, okay, and each truck runs around 300 kilometers in a day. That is a fix. Even according to the GST e-way bill, the vehicle has to travel 200 kilometers in a day.
Right.
All right. Yeah. So 200 kilometers in a day, the vehicle is traveling. So at least we need 1 hour of charging to each vehicle.
Right.
So just calculate 25 lakh truck needs 1 hour charging to travel 200 kilometers. So do we have enough charging stations? Even if we calculate that the pump is working for 24 hours, still do we have 10,000 electric stations only in Maharashtra? Just to cater the 25 lakh truck, we need close to, not 10,000, we need close to 10,000 charging stations with 10 points on each station. I'm not even talking about 5. 10,000 stations with 10 point each station, and continuously charging vehicle for 1 hour. But I'm seeing that that's not possible according to me, that, okay, you will charge half an hour and the vehicle is going to run for 400 kilometers. Again, it's a big challenge, because
Even the Tata, Mahindra and Tesla and these people don't have this technology.
No, Tesla has it, and what do you call more or
half
so?
an hour, 400 kilometers. I don't agree.
It's supercharging facilities, but that's not important. Let's say even if it is, I'm saying let's say it takes 4 hours also to charge. All right, you are assuming
4 hours is just calculate, bro. Then we need 40,000 charging stations. 40,000
Yeah.
charging stations.
So I would like to give my input, right? So I've been in touch with some of the people who working into the petrol pumps and everything, right? So because I have seen some people talking about it, Chirag. So I have one input, right? Maybe I'm not the right person to comment over it, but yes, actually they are coming up with a plan or a strategy with the charging station. Like they are going to launch in every petrol pump. They are going to have a charging station, right?
Yeah.
So they are going with that model because they already have a coverage with the petrol pumps. Right, we can see that in every 1 kilometer or in every 5 to 10 kilometers we get a petrol pump.
Yeah.
Right, so they are not going with the additional cost with that. So they are only doing a tie-up with the petrol pumps or the companies which are providing the services. So they are coming up with the solution that they will go with the charging station in their petrol pump, and whosoever need it, they can come up and they can have a charging. Yes, that charging, fast charging is a challenge, and that will remain for some time. But yes, technology develops with time. It comes with a solution. This is where all the tech guys are working up, right? So they are coming up with new advancement in the technology. Yes, supercharging is what is required to solve the problem,
Better the industry,
right? And I guess very soon we can see Jehaan coming up with a good news for us, right? To reduce the carbon footprint, right? So because that
I'll tell you what you call one is to answer Chirag's question is in 5 years, after 5 years, I don't think anybody is going to buy diesel engines anymore. One is because this charging infrastructure is coming across the country. Two is what I'm not saying that the existing vehicles will shut down. 25 lakh vehicles will continue running, Chirag. They will always be there, and there's no choice around it. But next year you have this scrappage policy coming in with 15-year-old vehicles going out of the system. Where are those vehicles going to go? So you have one option, which is you completely scrap it. Another option, which is what I'm working on, is trying to see if we can make it electric. Right now, those things are long shots. You right now are just seeing a slight migration of electric buses coming into our ecosystem, slowly, steadily. Trucks will also come in. My thinking is that trucks will come in when the OEMs themselves start pushing it heavier. Currently, because of the oil lobbies, because of the OEMs themselves who have made tons of investment for diesel engine factories, they themselves don't want it to come. And so they'll never bring it in. You will have the moment, if you go to China, you almost, I believe, somewhere around 70 or 80% is electrified. It's completely transformed there. So it's surprising that they are the monopoly players. They are going to kill it in this sector. They're going to be the kings of the next oil kings, how the Arab world was. In batteries is going to be China. It already is China. So we don't have those facilities. Yes, it will get created the moment we say value for money. The moment you say कि 5 रुपया कम में दोगे, automatically dhar, everybody will start migrating onto this. The same thing is going to happen with cars. The same thing will happen with trucks, and it is an eventuality. But now it depends on the government, depends on other people, and I can tell you, it will all start with big players. You'll have the DHLs of the world, you'll have the SNGTs of the world. You say the moment you get the technology, वो बोलेगा कि चलो मेरा सारा electrify कर रहा हूँ because my cost per kilometer is lower, and then it will percolate down to the smaller players.
I do agree with you. Jehaan, पर what? हमारे जो country का infra देखो, if you just go to the outskirts, जो आप महाराष्ट्र के outskirts में जाओ, I'm not talking anything about far. महाराष्ट्र के outskirts में भी कुछ ऐसे villages है जहाँ पे electricity अभी भी नहीं है, और they get electricity for like 2 hours, 3 hours. तो ऐसे हमारा infra is very very weak. I'm not saying कि ये technology कभी आ नहीं सकता है, definitely आना चाहिए, and it's the need of the hour. But it will take at least 15 to 20 years. Even if government is setting up the norm, जैसे कि vehicle scrapping policy is coming. Because of the BS4 to BS6 transition, lot of small players, as 80% are chalak to malak. These people don't have big money. They don't get loan facility, and they don't have money. They don't get loan facility easily. Also, there is no one to catch the hand. See, we do have, because we are an asset owned company, so हम लोग कुछ भी collateral लगा के कुछ भी करा सकते हैं, but ये लोग को यहाँ पे finance easily नहीं मिलता है, and these people are 80% of the industry. So for again electric vehicle, like you know, the scrapping policy आ जाता है, तो those 30 lakh people will never be able to come in the industry again. These people are definitely gonna lose their jobs. मतलब अगर scrap हो गई, 30 लाख ट्रकें खत्म हो गई, तो खत्म हो गई, वो कभी जिंदगी में इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल या BS6 व्हीकल कभी खरीद नहीं पाने वाला है. So looking at all these things, see, अगर जो टेक्नोलॉजी आएगा, तो again what I'm saying, only 20% of the industry players will be able to afford it, and out of 20%, I believe hardly 15% may be able to adapt the technology, and again 5% will be out of the business. So what change a 15% of the transport industry can bring? कुछ ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. That's what I'm saying. के this is very good technology. It's a need of the hour, but we don't have good infra. We don't have that much margin. आज अगर जो 15 लाख का ट्रक, what BS4 costed us was 15 to 16 lakh rupees, and price we're paying for BS6 is close to 25 lakh rupees. अगर जो इलेक्ट्रिक आएगा, तो this cost will increase to 40 lakh rupees. 15 लाख की ट्रक का 40 lakh rupees in 5-6 years. मेरा कस्टमर मुझे डबल ट्रिपल मार्जिन नहीं देने वाला है.
I agree with you.
I really doubt के मतलब you know के it's a very good initiative, very good idea by the government, but implementing in our country it's quite challenging because already so many people are without business. हमारी इंडस्ट्री पे 50% ट्रांसपोर्ट के पास बिजनेस नहीं है, नुकसान में भी बिजनेस करते जा रहे हैं, और उसके बीच में स्क्रैपिंग पॉलिसी आ गया, तो क्या करेंगे?
But Chirag, I
No,
can
but
see that
Deepak ji had
also-
something to say. I think Devanshu, Deepak ji was trying to say something.
No, yeah, Jehaan, please continue.
No, Deepak ji was trying to say something.
Yeah, Deepak ji, right.
ईवी मॉडल अभी इवॉल्व हो रहा है. मेरे ख्याल से 2030 तक कार में 25% ईवीस आ जाएगी कार में, लेकिन ट्रक में थोड़ा और कॉमर्शियली वायबल नहीं है अभी बैटरी टेक्नोलॉजी. आगे जाके होगी, और चार्जिंग का भी जरूरत नहीं रहेगा. बैटरी पैक सब्सक्रिप्शन मॉडल पे मिलेंगे, आगे जाके वो भी मॉडल आने वाले हैं. तो पूरा बैटरी पैक ही हम तुरंत 5 मिनट में चेंज करके आगे बढ़ पाएंगे. उसमें पूरा सब्सक्रिप्शन मॉडल भी आने वाला है.
So, Deepak ji, आप कह रहे हैं basically, so what we are going to do is that we are going to change the battery where we need
battery pack, according to vehicle capacity, battery pack subscription model will be there.
Right.
Like petrol pump model.
Right. So I would like to add up, like actually we are also, as a technology partner, we are also working with lot of EV companies, OEMs, right, where they wanted a data to show to their customers, like as a like what is the battery left, what is the running hours is left, right, what is the voltage, how the battery is performing, because battery comes with its own challenges, right? So we are also integrating multiple things with the OEMs to come up, because people are getting themselves ready, right? Because the battery is have a different protocols, right? So there are many advancement what we have done. Might be I can have a different session to understand what better we can do, right? Even if Jehaan, you are working in this, so you can give your inputs, right? Like what other data we can integrate, and how better we can show the data, because that completely will be a digital thing for us, right? We are totally dependent on the batteries, electric vehicles, and I guess the situation will like change what we are like in a habit of doing a business, right? So Jehaan, you wanted to add up something in this?
No, please. I think I was just saying that Deepak ji wanted to speak.
Right.
Continue, or we can go to the audience question.
Right. So we can have so anybody from the audience, I guess, so they have a different solution. Right. So so somebody has asked, right? So government is also providing some subsidy to the like we are getting.
Recently, Gujarat government ने अभी recently last 3-4 day में सब कार EVs के मतलब पर्सनल मोबिलिटी में सब्सिडी डिक्लेयर किया है. वो 20,000 से लेके 1,50,000 तक कार के लिए.
Right. So I guess that can be answer to your question, Chirag. Might be government can help us in subsidy, right?
दीपक भाई, पर गवर्नमेंट आपको बोलती है 25 लाख का गाड़ी खरीदो और 1 लाख रुपए का बेनिफिट लो, कहाँ से होने वाला है?
नहीं, मैं पर्सनल मोबिलिटी कार्स की बात कर रहा हूँ. तो
पैसेंजर कार्स, हाँ पैसेंजर कार्स. जैसे कि MG का भी है, MG का forgot the name of the car, जो 26 लाख का गाड़ी है, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल, MG ने जो ये मॉरिस गराज का है, वो 26 लाख का गाड़ी है और उसका सेम फीचर्स, सेम आई थिंक उससे ज्यादा फीचर्स वाला हमारे पास Hyundai का क्रेटा है, which is costing about 19 lakh rupees, और ये 26 लाख जा रहा है।
चिराग आगे जाके कॉमर्शियली वायबल होगा तब भी
नहीं,
बढ़ने
वो
वाला
तो
है।
अगर जो कॉस्ट व्हीकल का कम होगा तो
आज की
डेफिनेटली,
बात नहीं है।
अगर 13 लाख में दोगे तो मैं भी ले लूंगा। वो तो बताओ कि राइट नाउ अभी हमारा चैलेंज क्या है कि हमारे पास इंफ्रा नहीं है।
लेना पड़ेगा।
ट्रक भी देंगे तो ले लेंगे कि अगर जो प्राइस में कुछ काम हो जाए, गवर्नमेंट सब्सिडी दे, जो बहुत डिफिकल्ट है बिलीव करना, बिकॉज अगेन फॉर द स्क्रैपिंग पॉलिसी व्हाट गवर्नमेंट प्रॉमिस एंड व्हाट गवर्नमेंट के एंड से इंफॉर्मेशन हमारे पास आया है कि पर ट्रक दे आर गोना लाइक गिव इंसेंटिव्स फ्रॉम 50 lakhs to 50,000 to 1.5 lakh rupees अगेन। अगर जो वो ट्रक, अगर जब एक 9 टन की ट्रक का आप मेरे को 50,000 से 1.5 लाख या 2 लाख रुपया दोगे, तो किस तरीके से हम लोग को वो स्मॉल प्लेयर तो बेचारा मर जाएगा कि उसकी पूरी जिंदगी भर की कमाई से उसने एक ट्रक खरीदी है, जो मे बी उसने सेकंड एंड थर्ड एंड फोर्थ हैंड खरीदी है 9 टनर्स व्हिच ही हैज बॉट फॉर लाइक 7-8 लाख रुपीस। आपने इसको स्क्रैप करवा दिया, उसको सिर्फ 2 लाख रुपए दे दिए, तो अभी 2 लाख रुपए में उतना तो डिस्काउंट हमें दे देती है OEMs।
I guess we need a different session for this, right? And so let's move to our another question, right?
Yeah.
So let's shift to our focus over the like how we can improve other things as well, right? This is one of the challenges which we are facing right now. So we can see that there is a lot of challenges in handling the operations, right? So day-to-day operations here. So I wanted to understand from Jehaan. Jehaan, do you feel that team which is handling the operations for you, the stakeholders or as well as your managers, right? Are they skilled enough, or do you feel that there is a held back in the speed of execution due to skill level of employees? Do you train your staff, or do you feel it is important of like how it is important to training of your staff it is, right? So if you can give us some insights how you are looking over this challenge.
So your question is whether there are trained staff, or whether what is your question?
So we start with like how the staff is trained, right? So you hire the trained staff, you hire the skilled people, or you have some day-to-day or time-to-time training sessions for them, right? Or you how you make sure that your operations is not getting hampered due to skill issue, right? Because training is also like a upgrade process, right?
Right. So I'll tell you, our management philosophy is that we can't afford very skilled people, in terms of salaries, etc. Because of our margins are very wafer thin, as Chirag was mentioning. So generally, what most FTL players would be doing, unless you were heavily funded or whatever, is that you take people who aren't so skilled and then you train them over time. And so that's just the general pattern I have observed. We follow the same thing, and we try and upgrade them slowly, steadily, because that makes more sense than hiring people at higher salaries, because this business is not, at least when you're asset heavy, is not very scalable. So also market vehicles, all of that. So it depends. It's not so. Some companies do it. I mean, it's a philosophy. So we prefer to take the lesser skilled and then upskill them. That's been our philosophy.
So how difficult it is to train, to upskill them, like how actually you do that, right? So you have a different set of people to train them, or you used to do a training session for them, or how exactly?
Yes, those we have weekly training sessions. We have one-on-one trainings. I personally monitor a lot of my team people as well, have reviews with them. So those are individual things, but it's just about each person's capacity, capability, and then trying to upskill them.
And what are the common challenges you face with the skills? Like, if you can mark some points on that, because we also, as a technology partner, we are also looking up a program where we can give a upskill training to people, right? Because with the time we have also understood, like what are the challenges in upscaling the manpower, right? So if you can give us some insights in that.
I think one of the big challenges is English is the first biggest challenge.
Right.
Languages is a challenge because you don't come from very educated backgrounds.
Right.
So that's the first hurdle. If they do speak English and if they are well spoken XYZ, then the second challenge comes around technology adoption. How do we skill them to understand technology better, get them, because most of our working is heavily, system based. So yeah, those are the two big pieces that we would like to solve. One is the English barrier, and then second is the technology barrier. Operations people work and like they learn on the job also. As is a transport is very anybody can become a transporter. That's why we have so many. It's no rocket science. What you
Right.
call, if anything, the challenge is actually in the courier business. That is a real crazy level of this. FTL is still simpler in comparison.
So Chirag, what is your intake in this?
Yeah, so in our company in SNGT, we do have a proper training company that is Smart from Santosh Nair. So they are the part of the training team, and we have a 6 months training, and again we have quarterly training. In quarterly training, we do have so each and every you can say so we don't call them as an employee. They are like we call it as a team, family member. So each and every SNGT family member has a goal. There are two types of goal. Every family member has it. One is professional, and second is personal. So if today somebody is working with us for like you can say 5 years, so we give him opportunity to be a branch malak. So today we have 75 offices, out of which close to 63 are franchisee. So they all are like a branch malak. So if you complete 5 years in SNGT, uh, I'll give you a specific branch, whichever you're interested in, and that branch you have to grow, and you get 10% profit of that branch. So I've seen a lot of growth, and this is why this is the only reason why I think my company and we are growing in SNGT, because every we have close to 63 partners with us. So here in SNGT, we motivate them. We also give a lot of opportunities to grow, and same for the drivers also. So we have a timeline of 5 years. अगर जो आप हमारे पास 5 साल के लिए ट्रक चलाएंगे, तो after 5 years the company will provide the finance, and then you can buy a truck and you can become the own malak. So in 31 years we have transformed around 250 plus truck drivers into truck malak. So again we call them a pilot, like वैसा के drivers नहीं है, pilot है. And SNGT believes in transformation, like not only the change, but we believe that we should keep transforming our people, and also we want our people to grow because they are the actual one who is running the show. Honestly, I'll tell you, we don't do anything in the company. Me, my father, my cousins, we don't do anything. We just monitor. But these are our people who are working day and night, and they are the reason why we are growing. And even in the COVID, we have not taken a single rupee ka moratorium. All our EMIs were paid on time, and we grew by 30%. Even in COVID, we started 6 new branches, and we also acquired 1 lakh square feet warehousing space. This was all possible because of the team. So we give them the opportunity to become the partner and the, we can say, a shareholder of the SNGT, and we share 10% profit of that specific branch which he is controlling. So they are not on the payroll, and they become a partner of that specific branch. And so that's why the training is required, to change their mindset from an employee to become a branch malak. And this training is continuous process. And yeah.
So I wanted to understand from all of you, like if we hire a unskilled person from the market, right? What is the tentative time and cost we used to invest, right? To start, like so that they can come up on board and they can give us some benefits to the company, right? So what is the tentative time and cost, if you have any idea over that?
I think, see, first the loyalty test is done. So loyalty test takes at least 5 years. So a lot of employees, like the people who join us, they come with a passion, and maybe like after 6 months or a year, they realize that they are not made for this industry. They don't want to continue with this industry because it takes a time you to realize that you really want to be the part of this industry or the part of this company. So the training process, which is almost, you can say, 2 to 3 years ka process hota hai. because see, we have continuous training, and today we have and we also help them to achieve the personal goal. Like if somebody, so my job is to monitor the my people's goal, what they want. So if somebody has written in his goal sheet, I want to buy a car in 2 years, so we help him and we motivate him कि आपको ये करना है, वो करना है, and this whole motivation and this training cost us around 25 to 30 lakh rupees yearly. So we have strategy sheet, we have people involved in the strategy, growth strategy, then goal setting. Then again, we also have small meeting called SNGT Pathshala, jahan pe we train them, we upgrade them, and then there is a lot of activities involved. We have a gamification also in the company. So it's like people are playing game in the company.
Right.
So even the people have goal, and if they achieve this goal, they get this much points. And then we have the employee of the month, picture in the company, and a lot of motivation.
So Chirag, this is, I can see that this is more about the drivers, but what about the other staff we have?
63 other staff. The 63
Right.
is the staff who have become the partners, and 250 plus other drivers, like Chalak Malak Vesa.
So for the normal staff, which is helping on day-to-day operations like monitoring, the financing, or other stuff as well, right? In warehousing, I'm sure that you have some staff in the warehousing as well for loading and unloading, because that also consume a lot of time, right? Because that also depends like how frequent we can do the preps and what is the delay we can have to face. So the same time goes for those people as well, or there is a different analytics for that?
See, the analytics again, I'll tell you, is performance based. So it's how we tell them to set the goals is we tell them to identify the designation what they want to see themselves in a year. For example, somebody wants to be a traffic senior manager who is into the accounts. So what I tell him is, you understand his work and right now only get ready for his work. After finishing your work, you try to understand. So we have a SNGT manual. So whatever designation you want to see yourself after a year, so आप उसका भी काम करो और उसका knowledge लेते रहो. And then there's a question session, we randomly visit any branch and keep asking them questions according. So this is lot of inside data. So I do have a lot of sheets also there. They have written this guy want to somebody who is an accountant, but he is interested in the operations. So he has written, I want to become a senior traffic manager in 2 years. So then I design and if somebody doesn't have goal, then we can't help. So it's all their personal choice, and for choosing that we help them. So we have this training session जहाँ पे उनको समझाया जाता है कि how to find your distinct forte. See, there are 4 type of work which are good. One is bad. जो bad काम करेंगे तो आप forcefully करेंगे, still you won't be able to perform. Second is able. You're able to do, but आप उसमें result नहीं लेके आओगे. But you are good. You need the push, and then you're able to do good work. And third is distinct forte. So I am an accountant because that time there was the only space vacant in my company. So this guy joined as an account manager, but his distinct forte is operational. He's mastermind, he's good with the numbers, and he feels like, playing with the trucks is a game. So we work more on a distinct forte, and this is why we are seeing that all the branches are growing. And I'll give a recent example of Baroda branch. 6-7 years ago, we had booking of 2 to 3 lakh rupees with the booking amount. And right now we have booking of 60-70 lakh rupees, and we have 5 owned branches. And I have not visited a single place. All these 5 branches were set up by my people who was working for me for 15,000 rupees. It's just, I motivated, I changed his mindset. I showed him that you will progress, and there is something that यहाँ पे आपका growth है. And then we also in training session, we have a team building process also, how to build your team, how to set up a work for them, JD, JS, and a lot of things. And this is how these people are training the people who are working under them. So everybody wants growth, and we have a growth strategy.
Right. And as Jehaan mentioned, that there is a hurdle or challenge with the language, right? So I'm sure that similar challenges with the technology adoption as well, right? So how to use the computer, how to easy over the internet, how to use the application, because we can see that everything is going online, right? So eBay is online, right? Even I guess Bilties are also coming up online, right?
Everything is online, right?
Everything is online, right? So I guess that is also a challenge, or what is your input in that?
that was challenge for me in 2012 when we decided to shift into the computerized LR copies, because before me entering the business, as my father was a truck driver, then he started a company. So he's very good with strategies and everything. But again, language barrier was for him. Then when I joined the company that time, I could see that 90% people don't know English. They don't know how to operate the computers. But again, I don't feel language is a barrier because everyone in the country understands Hindi. And with time, people have learned little bit, like Facebook, WhatsApp, and all these people, like smartphones. They have they have really trained people to understand the English language also. It's not challenge for any driver. Right now I'm seeing my drivers also have Facebook account. So ये कोई difficult नहीं है. Now just go on Facebook and you will find truck driver का groups. There are more than 100 truck driver भाइयों का group. And now this again, the smartphones have got Hindi का option also. Hindi language is coming in the computers also. So language is not a big challenge. Even in the fleetx I could see there is an option to translate into Hindi also. Even my drivers are using fleetx का app. So language वो ज़्यादा barrier नहीं है मेरे हिसाब से. But yeah, definitely उनको training. So again, the transforming people to adapt the technology was a big pain for me, and that was the time when I joined the company. So everything was burden on me. I have to train the every stakeholder of the SNGT. It took time. It took us almost 2 years. So in 2014, we were able to come up with 100% computerized LR. It took us 2 years. But yeah, that time we also, at least 15-20% of the staff, they quitted the job because they didn't want to accept the change, and they were not able to understand the thing. So we gave them an option of 6 months training, kab 6 minute tak we give an option. But if you really don't want to change, then we can't stop the growth of the company for them, because the company is growing, company has mission, vision, and goal. So company is gonna move in that direction.
Right. Let's understand from Deepak ji point of view as well, right? So Mr. Deepak, you can tell us like how you are looking over this challenge and how you are managing this.
हमारी कंपनी में हम ऑपरेशन मैनेजमेंट के लिए हम 2 डिफरेंट अप्रोच से काम करते हैं. जैसे कि हमारे कोर एक्टिविटीज है जो उसमें सीनियर और मिलेनियल दोनों 50-50 शेयर में है. और सीनियर हमारे साथ 8 से 12-13 साल से जुड़े हुए सब, तो खुद ही अपने आप ही सेल्फ लर्निंग से इम्प्रूव हुए और अभी अच्छी तरह से वो पूरा हैंडल कर रहे हैं. और वो जो नए यंगस्टर है उनको भी प्रॉपर से ट्रेनिंग वो खुद ही दे रहे हैं. वैसे हम कोई अलग से ट्रेनिंग सेशन नहीं करते प्रोफेशनल, लेकिन हमारी टीम को ट्रेन करती है. और जो हमारी नॉन कोर एक्टिविटीज है जैसे कि टायर मैनेजमेंट, मेंटेनेंस, वो सब हमने आउटसोर्स कर रहा है. जैसे जीपीएस का है तो आपको दे रखा है, टायर का हमने फ्लिका और सीएट को दे रखा है पूरा. और मेंटेनेंस का मोस्ट ऑफ जो न्यू व्हीकल है उसमें एनुअल मेंटेनेंस में ले रखा है, तो उस हिसाब से मैनेज कर रहे हैं.
So Deepak ji, I wanted to understand like कितना एक generally एक how what is the average time you invest to train some your team for the upskill? What is the average, like 7 days, 10 days, 15 days, month or 2 months? Like what is the time investment you put on that?
कोई नया एम्प्लॉय रिक्रूट होता है तो उसको एटलीस्ट 1 महीना लगता है. अलग अलग जो उसको स्किल चाहिए वो हमारे सीनियर पीपल ही ट्रेन करते हैं उसको. जैसे मेरा जो डिवीजन है वो मैं कर दूंगा, दूसरा जो उसका जो स्किल लेवल रिक्वायरमेंट है उस हिसाब से 1 मंथ में फिर वो अपने आप लर्न करता है सिस्टम.
Right. So Jehaan, do you feel that this thing is a major challenge in the industry which need to improve, or how we can improve it, or there is a gap where technology can comes up, or where some third party benefit or any benefit which can come up?
Tough question.
Any solution to this thing? Do you
I
feel?
think each company has their own, to modify it may be difficult for every company. But like Chirag said, he has his own training, Deepak Bhai has his own training. Everybody does their own thing in their own way. Technology for training, apart from the basic stuff, I don't know. Very difficult to say, because our verticals are so niche and so different, and it's also evolving. So, what's valid today FASTag wasn't there a few years ago. Now it's there.
Right.
What do you call, diesel cards weren't there. Now it's there.
E-way
What do you
bills
call,
also.
e-way bills, stuff like that. So
Right.
it's very difficult to bring in technology for training, in my opinion. But it depends, what you define by this.
So right. So let's move to our another challenge, right? So or another question which we have, right? So this is from Jehaan. It is from you, right? So do you feel the government regulation and norms have affected the efficiency of your operations either positively or negatively, right? What would be the one norm that you would want to change, right?
So I think I personally don't think that the government takes too much weightage on the transport lobby's opinions. Honestly speaking, they don't listen to them. They hardly give them an opportunity to even sit down and have a conversation, take their consultation before taking a decision. What do I mean by this? Whether you look at e-way bill, whether you look at the random 25% payload increase overnight just done, these are stupid, it makes no sense. Absolutely ridiculous decisions, like quickly just happened, and then you have to just do it. Like, take it or leave it. This is now done. Abhi, now you figure it out how you're going to manage. Uh, I mean, I understand the intention. The intention is good. There's no bad intentions in the FASTag. There's no FASTag good. Everything is very good intentioned, but the execution of it is very haphazard. Even look at the increase of diesel also. I don't think any transporter has a problem with diesel increase. You say we are going to charge 100 rupees, and then stick it from 100 Jan to March, we're going to charge 100. Transporters will go to their customers, say 100. Fuel prices will obviously affect vegetable and your inflation prices. Everything will increase, and that's fine. That's the economy way of doing it. Everybody is happy. This constant thing of नहीं मैं अभी 50 पैसा increase करूँगा, नहीं मैं अभी payload को randomly 25% increase कर दूँगा. We're making investments worth crores of rupees in assets. Anybody, not only single fleet owner हो या बड़ा भी हो, you can't suddenly change the dimensions of the vehicle and then say overnight and claim that, oh, this was anyways happening or whatever XYZ stupid reasons. So I think honestly, I don't know how to say this because even Chirag is here, but Chirag and associations, they try very hard to make the government agree and listen, but they don't entertain any of them. They don't give them and I'm sorry, Chirag, but it's the truth. They it's all about photoshops and this, but like at the end of the day, result is like kya hai? Like what is happening? There's no, they aren't even actually, our associations are smart people who have got 25 40 years experience, people who are representing us in a way, but nobody consults them before taking any policy decision. It is just andhadhuni. Or logistics cost is 14%. Nobody sees that 8,000 crores a month goes for bloody RTO, road tax, illegal money. वो कम नहीं करना है, but transporters को कम करो, पैसा कम करो, या उनको make them now move into XYZ electric vehicles or whatever. It is unfortunate, and I myself, like, I know I'm shooting myself in the foot because I'm working with the government on a lot of schemes for driver vaccination, driver insurance, etc. But the truth is the truth. There is no association till date is consulted seriously when these big policy decisions are taken. Even if they are, it is just for namesake. And I haven't seen anything, what do you call, few things here and there get activated, but the amount of effort. So let's say if an association puts in 100% effort, 2% gets translated, which is,
So the second part of our question is like, if you wanted to change one norm, right? If you get that opportunity, Jehaan, so what is that one norm which you badly wanted to change?
I would say one is on a safety standpoint. So I'm very conscious on road safety, right? I would say that every driver license should be cancelled, number one, and every driver has to redo their exams in the proper, correct way of how driving should be done, so that the road accidents can reduce. That's my fundamental change. But over and above that, if I had to really change something on an economic standpoint, it would be to eliminate all borders and keep one fuel price across the nation. And I was talking about borders, I'm talking about your corruption on the borders. Have one fuel price across the country. These are few things I would suggest. I know I'd say one, but there is a lot that needs equal attention.
Right. So
Yeah.
So Chirag, what is your intake in this?
Yeah, I do agree with Jehaan. What he said is very correct, that government has always been deaf to our associations. But I think the problem here is what we are facing in the AMTC and what we see also. Okay, we have a lot of associations today. AMTC is the apex body, and a lot of other associations claim to be this body. And then again, we have associations state-wise, city-wise, gully-wise. So you can say like, okay, there is, again, as we all know, there is a one voice, but still a lot of like, as we are saying that there are more than 600 associations in the country. So everyone has different mindset, different approach, and different goal. So there is no, you can say there's no unity amongst us only. And again, this associations body are the voice of the transporter. So our duty is to fight for our rights. But as we all have seen in every government policy, nowhere, not only about the transport industry, but in the other associations also, government has never called any association on the platform or never concerned, like, so never asked them for the concern. Okay, do we implement this policy? Even the e-way bill. So many associations, textile association, chemical association, everyone opposed. But nobody was heard out. And this is what the government does. Government never entertains any association because associations are not a part of government body, but they are the one who fights for the right against the injustice done towards the citizen and the association people. So that's why government would never again involve us, because we are always against the injustice which is being happening on the government level. And again, if I get an opportunity to change the policy, it would be against the diesel, because this is the burning issue right now. And I could see a lot of small transporters dying because of that. So I would ask government to have a one fuel price in one nation, and also cut down the diesel cost. That's what I would want to, if I get the opportunity to bring a change in the industry right now.
Right. So I have seen that you've been in touch with many of the government officials. So did you get any relaxation from them or any benefits? Like, I'm sure that you had put a lot of effort doing this, right? I'm sure.
Probably puts more time in the association than he puts in his business.
That's what I told. My company is running on the process. I don't work at all. That's what I defined. Yeah. So so government do hear us out. So last year, when Maharashtra state they had approached Anil Parabji, who is the transport minister, and we got relaxation of close to 700 crores for the commercial tax waiver. And after approaching the central government, they had waived off the toll charges, which is again close to 1,500 crores for a month, and it was continued for 4-5 months. So somewhere around, we got a benefit of close to 9,000 crores. We tried our best, and this much only we could benefit our industry. But then again, the moratorium was given to the transporters, which was again taken up by the association. So I don't have the figure how much our industry benefited out of the moratorium, though the compound interest was charged, but there was less burden of the EMIs. So see, we ask for 100 things, but we also know that government won't give us 100%, but at least we are getting 20%, and that 20% is benefited to the industry. So that's what I'm saying. Association is fighting for you only, and we don't get paid for that. It's a thankless job. So even if tomorrow something is happening, किसी को पुलिस ने पकड़ गया, people are gonna abuse me कि association क्या कर रहा है. But is it a really association and my job to talk to the RTO when you are in a fault? A lot of people do carry overload, and they call me, "अरे boss, हमारा गाड़ी पकड़ लिया, overload हो गया." So association never supports a wrong thing. Association doesn't have to deal with the RTO, but still we try our best to help out, because association agenda is to fight for the bigger cost. If we get involved in the each and every transporter small problem, तो हम लोग bigger cost पे कभी बात ही नहीं कर पाएंगे. We would never be able to think about the toll, about the moratorium, about the vaccinations. ये सब कब possible होता है when we are on the talking on the larger perspective and not getting involved in the every transporter small problem. So then government is definitely deaf to us, but we try our hard. And as I told you, on 20th we celebrated Black Day. So there are a lot of things, because in this difficult times of the COVID, it's not possible to call for a strike. And again, it's not right also, because not everyone has a business, and we don't want our country or state to suffer and have a bad image about us. Because if tomorrow we stop the supply chain, also stop the supply of essentials, medicines and everything, then definitely kuch bhi galat hota hai, we will be blamed, and we don't want to be the that bad name in the country.
So I have seen like in the logistics performance index, so customs also play an important role, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any intake in that, like how we can improve customs? Because like we can see that you both are more focusing over the diesel, but I guess there are many other regulation also which has to be improved to enhance the logistics sector, right? Any intake in that?
Deepak bhai is the king in that. He's the
Yeah.
best
So
one.
Deepak ji, let's come to you, right? If you have any inputs in that.
लास्ट एक साल से मैं देख रहा हूँ काफी इम्प्रूवमेंट हो रहा है, कस्टम के सिस्टम में डिजिटलाइजेशन हो रहा है। अभी
Right.
बिल ऑफ एंट्री ऑनलाइन हो गई है, फेसलेस असेसमेंट हो गया है। उसकी वजह से कुछ टीचिंग प्रॉब्लम आ रहे हैं अभी तक, लेकिन आगे जाके वो और 20 to 30% टाइम सेविंग होगा कस्टम प्रोसेस। अभी इनिशियली कुछ इश्यूज आ रहे हैं उसमें बिल ऑफ एंट्री क्लियरेंस में, क्योंकि कुछ ऑटोमेशन पे उन्होंने सिलेक्शन रखा हुआ है। तो इनिशियली सब हमारी ट्रेड बॉडी वगैरह और गवर्नमेंट से रिक्वेस्ट करके जो भी चेंजेस है वो करवाने के लिए प्रयत्न कर रही है, आगे जाके और इजी हो जाए।
So Deepak ji, क्या changes आए हैं basically? What are the changes which has come up in last?
बिल ऑफ एंट्री मैन्युअल फाइलिंग होता था, अभी वो ऑनलाइन फाइलिंग हो रहा है, और असेसमेंट के लिए पर्सनली कस्टम एजेंट वगैरह को जाना पड़ता था कस्टम ऑफिस में, वो भी पूरा अभी ऑनलाइन बेसिस पे हो रहा है।
Right.
टाइम सेविंग हो रहा है और प्रॉपर डिजिटलाइज वे से ऑटोमेशन से सिस्टम इंप्लीमेंट होने की वो कोशिश कर रहे हैं, तो आगे जाके और भी इजी हो जाएगा कस्टम क्लियरेंस प्रोसेस।
Right. So I can see that there are many things which we have to improve. So according to Deepak ji, what is the one norm you wanted to change from your end?
मेन तो डीजल प्राइस है, वो हर क्वार्टरली रिवाइज होनी चाहिए, वही हमको सबसे ज्यादा तकलीफ दे रही है।
Right.
दीपक भाई का कहना है तेल घटाओ देश बचाओ।
मतलब फ्यूचर इंक्रीज कंसीडर कर ले ट्रेंड के हिसाब से, लेकिन 3 महीने में एक ही बार होनी चाहिए, चाहे 120 हो जाए उससे कोई प्रॉब्लम।
Right.
और बेटर इलेक्ट्रिक पे आ जाओ दीपक भाई मेरे साथ।
इलेक्ट्रिक अभी 2040 कॉमर्शियल व्हीकल में।
So my next question is from Chirag, right? Chirag, I can see that you are working with third-party vehicles a lot, right?
Yeah.
So there is a lot of vehicles which are taken from the market on a daily basis, right?
Right.
How do you think this is a problem or not, right? Firstly, I wanted to understand, and if this is a problem, how we can solve it?
So for me, it's not a problem. Again, I'll tell you the why. Because
Right.
in our company a long ago, in 2010, we had difficulties and we had a union problem in the company. And that time, what happened was we had all the own vehicles. And after that, we started giving, shifting the half business. Because see, when you own a truck, it's a fixed cost for you. You have to pay EMI, you have to take care of driver and a lot of other aspects. You have to take care of the vehicle maintenance and 100 things that add on, 100 stress, you can say, 100 pain points come to you. So that time we decided, we had a big, because the company was in a trouble for like a good 6 months. We had a business lesson. That time this fixed meter was on us and the godowns were rented and a lot of cost was there and we had no business. So we decided to have 50% market vehicles. And this policy has continued since then, almost in 2011-12, we had 50% market vehicles and we still had a business, half of the businesses all were diverted to the market vehicles. But again, when this COVID happened, we had 50% business. So all our vehicles had business. We're running on the 100% own vehicle efficiency. And we didn't divert that business to the market vehicles because we had only 50% business. So that time COVID didn't affect us. And all my 100% fleets were running That's why we are able to pay the 100% EMI. We never ask for the moratorium or external loan. And so this is the main reason that market vehicles are never a burden. There is never a fixed cost burden on us. And again, if you're comparing the cost, the market vehicles, this is like, it's hardly making a difference of 10,000 rupees in a month. If I'm passing on the business to my, my vehicle, I'm owning that vehicle, the cost difference would be hardly 10,000 rupees. But the stress, the responsibility, here I don't have to go and run and search the driver. Here I don't have to look after the truck maintenance. So whatever the 30% stress and the time that vehicle was consuming, which is reduced to only 10% now. So this is the reason why we prefer outsourcing the business. And same I saw in the Deepak Bhai's case also, okay, all the maintenance part is outsourced. Similarly with also, okay, if somebody's take care of 100% of my vehicles and giving me coming into the agreement with me, I would 100% divert my fleets. I would go for 100% third party agreement.
But Chirag, yesterday actually I was sitting with one of my a customer who is using a lot of third party vehicles, right? So they were facing some challenges with the compliance breach, right? So actually they have seen that driver is driving a vehicle from a very long time and they are not aware of it. Sometimes they don't get the updated documents from the vehicles, right? But so there are brokers who are sitting in between to provide the third party vehicles as well, right? Who used to push that vehicles, right, to get the load. And they are also in a burden of getting a load and do a trip in a nominal time so that they can go on another trip, right? So there are some cases which happened with that particular client, right? So I wanted to understand that this is the problem which is happening everywhere, or
this is the problem everywhere. So as you told me, first question what you asked me was, okay, I'm not aware of the travel distance. So as we are more into local business, so even if my the core business is not more than 400 kilometers. So Mumbai to Nasik, Nasik to Pune, Nasik to Vapi. Then we also have a branch in Ahmedabad. But for Ahmedabad, we are giving 2 days. So my vehicle has to go to Vapi first. He has to take a halt. Then he has to move to Ahmedabad. So he covers 200-300 kilometers. There is a delivery or there is a stop point. Then he has to go ahead. First thing. And second thing, if they are facing challenge in the documentation, tell them to have your GPS because it has a facility of POD.
Right.
So that's what we are using fleetx for it. So we can upload POD, and we are also given those mobile applications in the driver mobile where he's after delivering is uploading the POD. And if POD is not given, we don't give them the freight. We hold the freight of the market vehicle, the vendor. So uska hum log bhada atka dete hain. So obviously, either he has to submit a duplicate copy. We do provide him a duplicate LR, and he has to again bring a sign and the consent on that LR copy, and then only the freight is released to him. So, and if this happens with my own vehicle, I have to send my staff, I have to take care of the POD, again I have to send my own truck. But when it's a market vehicle, I can easily hold on the freight. बस आपका भाड़ा अटका दिया, POD लाके आओ, फिर ही मैं आपको freight दूंगा. And उसके बाद there is an accident, there is a puncture, and we all are aware कि इतने सारे accidents होते हैं. So my job is to transport goods, to deliver goods, not to take care of the truck. But here, what I am doing when I am owning the vehicle, I myself become a truck maintenance guy also. So along with the transport delivering the goods, I also become a third party agency who's taking care of the maintenance part. So everyone has to do their own job. If my job is to deliver goods, then I have to do that only. I don't have to get involved in the truck maintenance part and look after the trucks and get involved in those things, because my distinct forte, my excellence is in delivering the goods. तो वो चीज को हमने ध्यान रखे हुए व्हाट वी डिसाइडेड कि हमारा जिसमें डिस्टिंक्ट फोर्टे एक्सीलेंस है, जिसमें हम अच्छा कर सकते हैं, वी हैव टू डू दैट ओनली and not get involved in the truck maintenance part. So 100% vehicle of SNGT are under AMC contract, and we don't have any vehicle older than 5 years. 5 साल हो गए, BS4 हो या BS6 हो, we sell off the vehicle. Even this COVID situation, we bought around 28 new BS6 trucks. So हमारे पास कोई business exceptionally बढ़ नहीं गया था. But we sold old vehicles which are the AMC was over, and we bought the new vehicles. और जहाँ पे हमें extended AMC मिल रहा है, तो उसका हम लोग ले रहे हैं for 7 years, मतलब 5 years plus 2 years, and then we sell off the vehicle because we don't have single mechanic or single workshop in the company. Because I believe my job is to deliver goods, not to maintain trucks.
But what about the health of the vehicle which we are taking, right? So because you are like relying on them, right? So you are answerable to your customer in some sense, right?
So if there is a breakdown, we do have a penalty system. Again, that's what I'm saying. कि अगर जो मेरा ट्रक on time deliver नहीं हुआ, आपका 20% कट हो गया, 2 दिन तक नहीं हुआ तो 40% कट हो गया, वहाँ पे penalty set की हुई है, जहाँ पे ये बंदा is hardly making some extra. If there is a genuine problem, then I won't do injustice to him. अगर जो मुझे पता है कि actual में उसका mistake नहीं है, and there is a small breakdown, उसके वजह से delay हुआ है, and he's trying to fix it, then there won't be a penalty. But if there is a lethargic attitude, he's like कि एकदम lenient है ये चीजों में और ये repeated हो रहा है उसकी कम तो हम लोग vendor change कर देंगे, because there is a big availability of market vehicles right now. Also in the country there are 40 lakh trucks without business. So आपको चाहिए उतना market में truck available है, then why to burden yourself with the truck maintenance?
So let's come to Jehaan. Jehaan, what is your intake in this?
What, asset light versus asset heavy? There's pros and cons in both. I think I agree with Chirag. It's lesser hassle, makes sense for larger fleet owners. Like, it's good to have a significant fleet, and then after that, a significant portion, maybe 50% of your business asset light, 50% asset heavy. Those are the smart ways of doing it.
So how much you are dependent on third-party trucks?
How much are we dependent?
Right.
Not much. I would say hardly 20% of our fleet.
So why this less number? Because if you are agree with Chirag, I wanted to understand. What is the difference? What you are like? What are the challenges you face? Because you are not increasing that percentage, so there is a reason behind it.
No, my business model is slightly different. Chirag's is, on or any most transporters is around providing the FTL service. I'm more niche on safety. So I work with fuel, chemical, gas sector companies where we can't afford to give it to a third party vendor, because in case we messes up, the liability is on us. The liability is very high. So because of that, we prefer to have our own fleet. That's the only reason. But if I had an option, if I was moving something that's less has cargo, I would definitely opt for
So what are the safety measures you are taking up to ensure the customer, the driver's health and everything?
That's a whole different conference.
Right. So
there's a lot of stuff.
Right.
Majorly, trying to see that they don't overspeed, making sure that they're driving correctly, monitoring that. We have the Humsafar application, which is completely focused around road safety and gives drivers assistance in real time. Our foundation works towards, ensuring that not only do they drive safely, but also that they are insured and vaccinated. So there's a lot that's happening there. But I think from your question more whether asset heavy, asset light, or whether it should depend on vendors. If you find the right vendors, nothing like it. I think it makes sense. Definitely can empower more people. Get risk is lower. Any good transporter worth his salt would probably do that. A lot of customers, though, we see are always insisting that they want our own fleet. So maybe a hybrid thing would work best. I don't know, Deepak ji or Chirag, if you agree or not, but hybrids generally are you can give good service at the same time you are not so asset heavy.
So let's understand from Deepak so what you have intake in this. So how you are managing your challenges with the third
हमारा टोटल वॉल्यूम है इनमें 90% हमारे ओन व्हीकल यूज करते हैं और 10% आउटसोर्स करते हैं, और उसी रेशियो से हम व्हीकल ऐड करते हैं कि 10% का गैप बना रहे। और हमारा अभी एग्जिम टाइम क्रिटिकल मूवमेंट है, तो ज्यादातर कस्टमर को हम मार्केट व्हीकल पे सर्व नहीं कर सकते। वैसा शेड्यूल मैच करना होता है, कट ऑफ टाइम, डीओ वैलिडिटी होती है, तो मार्केट व्हीकल पे हमारा कंट्रोल नहीं रह पाता है। इसलिए एटलीस्ट 90% हमारे मॉडल में ऑन व्हीकल से काम हो रहा है.
So do you also feel the same issues, challenges, or you have different problems with the market vehicles?
हम ज्यादातर मार्केट व्हीकल्स को ऐसे लोड देते हैं जो ज्यादा क्रिटिकल नहीं हो. पहले तो हमारा यही उसी हिसाब से लोडिंग देते हैं, तो हमको प्रॉब्लम कम आ रहा है. लेकिन कभी भी कुछ ऐसी सिचुएशन होती है तब हमको ट्रैकिंग वगैरह में उसका रिपोर्टिंग में टाइमली मूवमेंट नहीं हो पाता है, वो प्रॉब्लम रहता है.
And what are the compliances we are looking into?
Sorry?
What are the compliances we are majorly like have put a checkpoint on? Like these are the compliances which you are majorly looking into before giving your load to any market vehicle.
हमारे कुछ एस्टैब्लिश वेंडर है जो मार्केट में बहुत सालों से काम कर रहे हैं, तो हम ज्यादातर उनसे व्हीकल लेना प्रीफर करते हैं.
Okay, right. So I'm coming back to Chirag. Chirag, my next question is to you. This is related to technology, right? So technology has penetrated in the domain of logistics at an amazing speed, right? And continues to do so. So how do you plan to prepare for the next tech wave in logistics?
So right now, though, what I see is what customer expects from is a lot of transparency. They want a good communication, transparent communication, and our SNGT focuses on that only. So we have our own chat box, and also we are working towards AI, artificial intelligence, where my software would suggest me which vehicle to send for which branch, which destination, and how to take out the optimum and maximum benefit of that vehicle. So this is what we have already designed, and it's on a test platform. But chat box you can see on my website also, and on my application also. Chat box, live chat box. Even on Facebook we have this option, so you can directly talk to me, and there's a WhatsApp. And so right now our focus is to bring transparency in the communication, where customer could talk to us even at night, 3 a.m. He can talk to us, and we'll always be there for his services. And that's what you're focusing. And the future is AI, where we want software to suggest us the vehicle, the load, and we're also working on pin code basis. Right now, we're working on the location, the branch wise. Okay, we have services for this location, this branch, but now we are developing our software into pin code. So, jahan pe like customer just have to give us the pin code, and software would only tell us, okay, do we have service on board and how far. So right now also, if you see, our branches are on Google Maps, and you can easily, sitting over here from through my website, a customer can easily find out, okay, how far is my branch and which is the nearest location, and how we can book the parcel and what is the average freight cost. But it's it's not the exact, because it do vary, and sometimes there's a complicated collection and complicated deliveries also. But yeah, approximately 30-40% has been taken care by the technology, but I believe we are still on the developing phase, and we are not so developed in the IT. But yeah, we are definitely working on the direction and trying to grow. But we have done with the chatbots, and now the focus is more on the AI. And again, it's coming with a big cost. So as we have a budget, budget, we have budget for the IT also. So maybe in a year we'll be able to reach our goal.
And do we feel that we need a rating system for the drivers, or like how?
100% we do have, and I think Jehaan has a very good module for that, driver rating also. And we do also practice in the same, where we have a software, where the driver whole data is being input, and so there's a performance again which is tracked through the vehicle, and the vehicle has driver account also. So this way we come to know, okay, how much the vehicle has been driven by this driver, and how many vehicles he has changed in this year in the company, or if they are outsourced vendor, and what is the average performance we're getting in a year. Like he has driven, for example, you can say 10,000 kilometers or 50,000 kilometers, and how many times he has asked for the tire puncture money, for the accident, for the maintenance, how many times the pata hota hai. Normally there's a breakdown in the pata because of the if a rash driving happens, the pata generally breaks down, or there's a crack in the pata. So how many times the pata is broken down. So this is how we come to know, okay, this part, this specific driver has a habit or has a tendency to break specific part. and why there's a breakage of this part because of the rash driving or XYZ. So there are a lot of in this, a lot of tables and a lot of calculation has been done. So even the spare parts have been considered. As I told you, we don't have any mechanic with us, so everything comes from the OEM side, from the workshops. Okay, this was replaced with us, and this is how we are controlling the whole thing. And definitely, technology is the only option where we are able to track so much and get into the details. Because without technology, it's not at all possible to identify the single puncture cost in a year also. So I think everything is technology, and technology definitely booming and taking over everywhere, like not only the transport industry, but everywhere.
Even in fleetx also, we have come up with a feature which is a driver behavior analysis.
Yeah.
Right? So we are giving up some good insights over the rating and
Definitely, fleetx is doing so well. I could see like the development, what you guys keep bringing, the updation. It's like every month something new is a part of fleetx, and it's very exciting to understand and also to integrate in the company, because now we don't have to source it out, like we are getting everything on the same platform.
right.
So this is also benefiting us.
So, Jehaan, what is your intake in this? I get to know that you are totally into that, right? Driver behavior analysis. So what you have to say in this?
No, I think, see, my focus is not to analyze the driver behavior. My focus is to reduce road accidents.
Right.
It's just that to do that, we need to, improve driver behavior. And that too, I don't think so much needs to be improved from the driver's perspective, at least. This is that small things need to change, like continuous driving, overspeeding, things that typically are small bad habits. And we need to reward them for changing those habits as well, especially long distances. You typically have those issues. But I am completely immersed in this, and this is my favorite topic. So
So how you are using technology in this, right? If you can give us insights, maybe some other transporters can use to improve the accidents, or to improve or to reduce the number of activities happening over the road, right?
So see, I recommend all transporters, if they have fleet, to put in a GPS, and like how fleetx has monitoring systems for alerts, overspeeding, etc., and try and do that through the GPS directly. And that for any organized transporter is the way to go, without a doubt. It's a no-brainer. Anybody who's not monitoring their speed or their driver behavior is going to lose out in the long run, because the vehicle, like Chirag was mentioning, the vehicle health gets spoiled over time. Our solution in Humsafar Driver Safety Foundation is more for the single fleet owner to kind of, explain to him the importance of road safety, kind of help him in case he has an accident, assist him in, small things like insurance, vaccination, stuff like that. So I'm very keen on reducing the overall India's road accidents more than our own. What do you call? Our fleet has relatively very, very less numbers, because we're very extremely strict on that. But my agenda is more towards that line, because 65% accidents happen on national highways.
Right.
And typically truck collision is one of the major reasons why the deaths occur. So the idea is that through the app that we've developed called Humsafar, if the drivers can get these alerts in real time, automatically the chances of them becoming better improves. So if they get it in real time, and then you can reward them. So it's like brushing your teeth. You have a certain habit of driving, right? It's the same way you have a certain pattern the way you do it. So you have a pattern of overspeeding, then we try and break that pattern and say, okay, don't overspeed. You'll get rewarded if you drive so and so. So we try to reward them X rupees per kilometer, or, okay, you will get insurance for you and your family, or you'll get scholarships for you and your children. And the foundation's work is more to do with, trying to reduce the road deaths. That's predominantly what is our agenda.
Right. So, Deepak ji, what is your intake in this?
हमारा ड्राइवर मैनेजमेंट में हम आपकी सिस्टम का जो एनालिस्टिक है उसका भी यूज करते हैं, और कुछ डेटा हमारी टीम से लेते हैं, जैसे दूसरे जो एस्पेक्ट है जो टेक्नोलॉजी से कवर नहीं कर पाते, और उस हिसाब से हम एवरी मंथ टॉप 3 ड्राइवर को आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं, और उनको कुछ ना कुछ अलग अलग तरीके से रिवॉर्ड देते हैं, और उनका फोटो डिस्प्ले किया जाता है, तो और भी ड्राइवर मोटिवेट होके अपना बेस्ट एफर्ट देने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं.
Right. So let's I guess we have discussed a lot and some good insights from the discussion, right? So let's have a ending remarks, right? And from everybody. So Jehaan, you wanted to put any ending remarks over this?
So I honestly would rather end with answering somebody's question on the chat box because there's so many.
Right. We'll start with that, right?
Or we're doing that. Okay.
Yeah, we are doing that.
So then ending remarks from my end, just as much as thank you for this opportunity. And we definitely, all of us, I think individually are trying to, in our own way, it's like a larger clock and everybody's small part makes the whole thing move. So we all are, individually trying to do a lot of things. My request to the industry, if there are people from our line or even outside or our customers, etc., is that, just be mindful of the fact that it's really the drivers on the ground that are the real warriors, and people don't see that, and it's always talked about, but nothing is really being done for them. So my suggestion is, please look at that more seriously. If you all want your drivers to get COVID insured, please reach out to me. We are insuring 10,000 drivers for 1 lakh rupees COVID insurance, free of cost. So happy to do that for any of the transporters here on this call. And we're also looking at having a vaccination program pan-India, starting off in Panvel first. So with collaborations, hopefully with our associations and all, we want to do more of that kind of activity. But that's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jehaan. And I'll request to the audience that please, you can have questions from the panelists, right? So where they can answer with their expertise. So if anybody has any questions related to anything, so please raise a question in a QA session box. So we have earlier, actually, they had asked a question, like Mohit has asked one question from us, right? So how e-commerce industry also increasing their supply chain by introducing their own air or road logistics resources? Would you think it will impact transport industry in longer duration? So anybody wanted to
I would answer that. Definitely it's going to affect the road transport, as we are also seeing the dedicated freight corridor, which is initiated by the government, where they have already taken away our cement business, tiles business, and a lot of business has been taken over by dedicated freight corridor, which is close to 30,000 crore rupees. So yeah, definitely it's killing. And the most surprising and a bad thing about is that government is trying to kill the road transport, where government is giving subsidy, and government is very much involved. As we all are seeing, we are in such a bad shape, and government is supporting us, is against us. So yeah, definitely this is going to affect us more if they are coming with a subsidy. And because again, as the waterways was promoted by our Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, and even that affected our business a lot, because where the road transport cost was close to 3 rupees, and this water transport hardly costed like 1.5 or 1.75. And so again, but it was not a successful module, because where a truck could cover the distance in 3 days, this would take at least 15 to 20 days. But again, cold transportation and all this thing, where they have a stock of like 6 months or year stock, they can meet us up. But the dedicated freight corridor is definitely affecting us, and it has taken a big chunk of our business. And if rail transport is seeing, if the government is supporting in that, and air transport is more given subsidy and encouraged, if this would definitely kill us, definitely kill the road transport.
Right. So we have another question from Mr. Gaurav, right? So he is asking, like, is it wise to scrap BS4 vehicles or lower vehicles and buy new ones?
It's not wise to scrap our vehicles. Please spare us. We are not criminals. We are transporters. We are providing the deliveries. So there should be no scrappage. There should be some alteration in the part. We don't mind. do provide us some part which would definitely help to reduce the pollution. The same way what we have this biofuel. So not biofuel, sorry. Yeah, this thing AdBlue, where it it kills the maximum the pollution creating that. So same way, if government can give us the alteration in the part of the truck, and please don't scrap our vehicles. Though I don't have any old vehicles, but I have seen the pain of the industry. I know how my transporter brothers are, what condition they are doing the business and what pain they are going through. So we would request, please alter our engines or have something alteration or some mechanism which would reduce the pollution, but don't scrap our vehicles.
Right. So Jehaan, you have anything to add up? Deepak ji, you have anything to
I
add
don't think we should scrap it. And I'll tell you why. What do you call, if one is that it has to happen in a smart way where, the new buyers get some incentives more than this 1-2 lakh rupees, whatever is offered. But what's important is if some technology can come out where, like, if you can retrofit it with electric, very good.
Yeah, one question. This 30 lakh people will lose their job. How?
Yes.
How will you provide them the job then?
You go into different sectors, you do something else.
Oh yeah, this is not fair.
I'll tell you why.
Not justice.
I'll tell you. Look, what happens is, Chirag, one is, first of all, our industry degradation has happened because we don't have policies like this. And otherwise, what will keep happening is the same truck, which is not road fit. Mind you, a 15-year-old truck you want to run on the Indian roads can kill people, no matter how much pollution norms you change. Because that axle is weak, the body is weak, the brakes will be useless, and the people driving it also don't care about safety. So human life is more important, or these people's jobs is more important? These people will figure out something else to do.
That's what I told, that there should be an alteration in the mechanism of the truck, but don't just scrap it.
It won't change the fact that the truck is not roadworthy, Chirag. What was built 20 years ago is not good enough to run on today's road infrastructure. The amount of deaths we have is the highest in the world, even though China's population is way higher.
I guess this is
people will lose their jobs. Yeah, it's a very big discussion, and people will lose their jobs. So what will happen is, you will also see, one point I want to make is that you will also see an increase in freight rates, because a lot of the people who are who had old vehicles, who are sitting quietly and who are running their trucks, those people will all get washed out or will have to go in for new trucks. Pressure will increase. Automatically, our industry will grow up and come ahead. I don't think it's a bad thing. If anything, I to promote it should be 12 years. Because the older vehicles are crap. New vehicles should come in, 100%.
So I got your point, and I guess this is we need more time to discuss on this, right? Because this is a very big issue, right? Which we can discuss in another sessions as well, right? So we have another audience with us and participant. So he Ratul, right? So he is asking, is there a collaboration among different companies in case they receive part load and make it to FTL to become cost effective, right? So I guess this is a very good question which is asked, right? So anybody you wanted to answer on this? Yeah, Chirag, please.
Yeah, so this is a very successful idea and module also. A lot of part load transporters and the courier transporters are doing that. So I have collaboration with at least 10 to 11 transporters. So I don't have branches everywhere. I don't have branches in Kolhapur. I don't have branches in Nagpur. But I do provide service for that region. I don't have service in Morbi also. But there are specific transporters who book consignment on their waybill for the specific destination, and then they pass on to me. So I get goods from Agra also, but it's nowhere mentioned in my branches. But I do take care of the deliveries of Agra. So this also helps me to optimize my truck. So where my truck was going for 9 tonners were going for 7 tons, I've got an add-on of 1 ton, and I'm also getting the freight. So definitely it's a very successful idea, and a lot of transporters are practicing it, but of different regions. So it's happening in the industry, and it's a very good idea also, where we can actually make optimum use of our vehicles.
Right. So we have another question with us from Piyush, right? So he's asking, how do you see Indian railways or dedicated freight corridor affect road transportation business?
I've already answered this.
Oh yeah. So let's ask from Deepak ji as well, right? So Deepak ji, what is your intake in this? I guess he is not. Jehaan, you wanted to say anything in this?
No, I to think even RoRo is important and even rail is important. There needs to be these infrastructure needs to be in place, and road car we've got too much on the country. It's a very big burden. Our cost is very high. These should be encouraged, 100%. We have to adapt. I think what is it for rail? We have to come into last mile, first mile. We have to adapt. We have to change. But the nation has to come down on its lowering its cost. If we keep increasing our cost and say that no, just because we are in the road transport industry, that's not the benefit of the nation. No, manufacturing has to boost. Jobs should be there. It's a more thing. From a transporter's perspective, from a business perspective, I'll say I can selfishly say the road को encouragement देना चाहिए. But if it's not cost effective, तो rail को देना चाहिए. Ocean को दो. Whichever is cost effective, good for the economy, good for the country, we have to promote. What do you call? That's my idea. But sorry, Deepak ji is back.
Right. So Deepak ji, what is your insights in this?
What was the question?
So the question is like, how do you see Indian Railways dedicated freight corridor affect road transportation business?
मेरे हिसाब से बिजनेस वॉल्यूम काफी बढ़ रहा है और लास्ट माइल फर्स्ट माइल में ट्रकिंग की रिक्वायरमेंट चाहे वाटरवेज हो या रेलवे हो रहने वाली है, तो उतना इम्पैक्ट नहीं करेगा. अगर इंडस्ट्री को कुछ पैसा बचेगा तो हमारे ट्रकिंग में वो कुछ ज्यादा देने के लिए एबल रहेंगे. उनको अगर एक जगह से पैसा बचता है तो हम उनसे कुछ ज्यादा मांग सकते हैं जहाँ रेल से मूवमेंट पॉसिबल नहीं है.
Last mile delivery. We can take care of last mile.
So I guess we have answered many of the questions, right? And my understanding, or I would give a summary to the entire discussion, is like, yes, there are many challenges we are facing as a organization or as a industry, right? And we are already putting a lot of effort to improve, like as a SNGT or Chirag is looking into many other things, reaching out to government authorities to get some amendments there, right? So yes, somebody has to come up with on this, right? And yes, there is no benefit and on this part, but yes, someone has to come up as a social service and has to look over these small fleet owners as well. And where the Jehaan point of view is very clear, right, that road safety is very important, drivers' life are very important, accidents has to be reduced, right? So that is also be taken care of. And yes, government has to come up with better policies so that we can increase our we can improve our logistics operations, we can come up with the better skills set of people, right? Still there is, I can see that there is a huge gap where people don't want to go into logistics, right? We have to have more skilled people in there, right? On the staff side, we need more training sessions, we need more skill trainings, we need more benefits on the excise end, right? We need more benefits on the customs side. So Deepak ji has also given a very clear information that outsourcing or giving it to third parties is easy to manage, or they are using different technology. Still, technology is not able to cover up the 100% of the challenges. There are manual inputs also which comes up. Right. So Chirag, I wanted to have a last call from you. What is your final take in this?
So the final take here, first thing I learned was a lot of perception about my transporters brothers. They all have different perception. A lot of learning also, like now from Deepak Bhai and from Jehaan also. Okay, what they are practicing, and definitely I have something to say to my audience and to my fellow transporters brothers and every stakeholder, that drivers are the real heroes, and please do respect them, love them, and at least whenever you get an opportunity, buy them a bottle of water or anything, if a small gratitude, like, this would really motivate them. And because see, these people are the one who is delivering the oxygen, medicines, and they are the one who don't go to the houses for like months and months. I have seen the drivers who are working on the long haul delivery. They don't go to the houses for 2 months, and everything for them is stuck. Like, they stay in the truck. It's a house. Is everything, like, So I would request, Kip, please do respect our truck drivers, and they are the one who are actually running the show. We being the owner of the transport company, we do nothing. So unko izzat do, and have this slogan like, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Truck Driver. प्लीज वो चीज को आप लोग भी अगर तो समझो और उनको उतना रिस्पेक्ट दो, it would definitely bring a big change and also would increase the number of truck drivers in our industry, because day by day the number of truck drivers are decreasing and driver के बेटे को driver नहीं बनना है. So वो एक mindset हमें चलना होगा, and that's not possible only through the transport companies, but it has to be like, initiative by all the stakeholders, even the customers and everyone listening to us. So then only it would bring a change and their job would be respected. That's it.
Right. So Deepak ji, what is your ending remarks?
Thanks for organizing such webinar. Thank you for inviting. I will end.
Right. So as a fleetx also, we are doing a lot of changes on our platform end, right? So as a technology partner, we are coming up with a lot of solution, lot of features where you people can have a more visibility over your fleet, have a more visibility over the driver behavior on their safety ends, right? So we are coming up with the alerts and many other features. So I'm sure we have a very insightful discussion today, and we will continue with the discussions like that, right, in the coming webinars. And thank you so much, everybody, audience, and thank you so much asking such a good questions from us. And I hope we have answered all the major questions which have asked from us. So it is end from my end, and thank you so much, Jehaan, Chirag, and Deepak. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.